illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. I dreamed big like my visions were projected on the movie screen. Beachside staring into watercolor bluish green. Muscle with the hustle, turn my dreams into reality. I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams on a balcony. Scribbling notes into the margin of my composition. For what's next, match my efforts with my ambition. I fell, took steps back, but kept pushing. Reinvented myself, establishing better footing. Fall down 6 times, but stand up 7, even when nobody else could see the places I was heading. I was driven. I had a vision that made a plan. Put it into practice with the actions of my hands. Put it into practice with my circle and my fam. Had my back before I became a businessman. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. My footsteps walk a different path. I did the knowledge, then I did the math. Factored in all of my failures, dream killers and negative talk that assails ya. Insecurities they projected onto me, internalizing the fear had me questioning my journey. I dim my light and I was scared to shine till I realized the baggage on my back wasn't mine. Then I made a conscious decision to fail without fear, study the lessons I was given. Facing setbacks is a given, but my setbacks never redefine my mission. Blessed with the village and blessed with ambition. Took in all the wisdom, it informed my intuition. Made a couple U-turns, but I learned transition is a necessary space to see my dreams come to fruition. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be.
Welcome back. Welcome, man. We are here for day 3. Let me get this out the way. All right, we are here for day 3 of the Born to Be Dope Summit and film release. Today is the big day that we reveal, premiere the Born to Be Dope personal development visual mixtape. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm just like, oh man, this is something new. This is something new. But you know, we stretch, get out our comfort zone, repping for the Greenhouse Media brand. Shirts available at borntobedope.com, by the way. But anyway, so listen, let's give a quick recap on yesterday. I checked. We are streaming live on both on Facebook and YouTube. If something happens, if the streams start acting up, going down, trust me, we have it recorded. You will get the full copy of the film to be able to see if we lose signal for some reason. You know, we can only do what we can do on our side. We can't do all the tech, you know, all the, I don't control YouTube and streaming, that kind of stuff. So we're going to do what we can do. Hopefully we get it smoothly like we did on day 1. But if not, just know right up front, I got you. We're going to make sure you get the whole thing if something were to happen. But we are trusting nothing's going to happen today. So before I bring on our first guest, the way the day is going to go, we're going to talk to the man behind the music, Salim, in a minute. We're going to then show the film. Then after that, we're going to have a live Q&A with a few of the cast members from the film. So we've got a lot packed in for the next couple of hours. So let's just recap some of the things that if you missed any of the Born to Be Dope Summit, the live presentations, the broadcast stream we had going on. Some of y'all just don't even know we had like 2 things going on at the same time. So while you're watching it live, you also had a stream of some power talks going on as well. So if you missed those, or you wanted to make sure you just want to watch some of it again and get the replay, that is available when you get the VIP package. The replays come with the VIP package. You're going to get a copy of the movie. You're going to get the free download of the audio book once that comes out in about a month, and then you're going to get access to our mastermind training we're going to do as well. So a lot of things come with that VIP package. If you go to just get the VIP package at borntobedopesummit.com. Put my name in for the promo code. It's $99. Get you all of that. All right. Also, as you're watching today, and if you've been watching all weekend, if you've said, you know what, man, that was a dope project, no pun intended, and I want to be a part of it, then the next Born to be Dope is coming up August 4th through 6th, 2022. We're doing it live here in the state of Maryland. So if you are down and want to be part of this project, we are casting starting in March for the next Born to be Dope Summit, the film taping summit. We got a big surprise we're going to also throw in there that I'll announce later. But go to borntobedopesummit.com. You can click the apply to speak button. It's already been updated for our next summit, so you can start that process. Fill out the questionnaire. Make sure you schedule one of the casting calls, and you'll be able to get information about the August summit. So this is not going away. Born to be Dope is here to stay. We're just getting started. So if you see something and want to be part of this project for the next one, definitely take advantage of that and get on board. And then finally, don't forget, if you are an author, if you're a speaker and you've written a book, or you're tired of asking people to put you on stage and you're looking to turn your book into an online course, then we are starting our next 5-day course creator challenge on March 21st. We're going to show you how to turn your $20 book into a $2,000 sold out online course in just 5 days. We're going to go through that challenge, and at the end of the challenge, you will have everything you need to have your course set up and start marketing that course. So 5 days, www.5daycoursecreator.com, www.5daycoursecreator.com gives you all information on what comes with this awesome challenge. All right, so let me get that out. Let's go to, let me bring on our first guest for the day. Let me go ahead to him. My man, my mellow, my ace. Let me unmute you. Almost forgot to unmute you. There we go. Salim Haggins, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, how you doing, brother? So happy to be here with you, man.
Man, I am excited. I'm excited to have you on here. We have been best friends since high school, and being creatives, being people who thrive off the arts and just always are in it. Finding a project that you and I could finally work on, since you would never let me get a verse on your albums. Finding something finding something that I can finally be like, look, Salim, here's a project we can collab on. Even though you still didn't let me get a verse on my own theme song that you did for me, but it's a work in progress. Maybe by the third or fourth one I can get on there. But listen, man. For those who don't know, Salim is MC extraordinaire, producer. He is the man behind all the music you're going to hear in the film, with the exception of one track. So this is one track that we did have that Salim didn't do. Luke G did that track, so shout out to Luke G in Atlanta. But for all the other music, Salim did all the music. And here's the thing about, and we're going to get to the conversation. I want to set this up. Salim has put out, let me see if I can remember off the top of my head. Is it 3 albums, 4 albums? I'm counting all the EPs. It's 4 albums.
Yep.
So it's 4 albums.
Yeah.
Which one did I miss? The first one. Yes. So he's got 4 albums. So this man has been in it, one of the best MCs out there, and best producers too. But when this project came about, this was something when I had this idea for this project, and I was like, how can I incorporate hip hop into this? And I was like, I got to go to Salim. I love his music, but we were still in the middle of a pandemic. So it was like still trying to film a movie for the first time, by the way, in a pandemic. So you can't get everybody in the same room, and trying to get the music with the presentations and everything. Let me just go to you, and you can kind of introduce yourself a little more as you start the answer to this question. But when I came to you with the idea and said, hey, Salim, I want you to do this music for this movie, after you thought I was crazy, like what was your response inside? Like, what did you feel? And then, how the way we had to go about doing it, what was this like for you?
Well, again, first of all, congratulations to you and kudos to you. This is an amazing project, and it's been an amazing journey for me. Yes, I did the music, but just seeing, I was there sort of when the idea took root. Like, I wasn't in the room, but obviously you, called me and started talking about it, and to see it go from, an idea, thoughts, in your notepad, to come to fruition. And for the folks who don't know, I feel like Ryan is underselling himself a little bit. Once he had the idea, it came together really fast. And it was a very ambitious idea. I mean, you're talking about this guy going cross country to interview people, meeting them where they were. And then again, it's your first movie. so that's, it's mind blowing to me. Like I've shot several music videos and I know how challenging that is for a 4-minute video. So I just want to again, give you so many kudos and props for the amazing people that you were able to bring into this project and for how you were able to pull it off. Like it's nothing short of amazing. So having said that, again, my name is Salim Higgins. I'm, a producer. I'm an MC. I'm a radio show host. I am Hip Hop Revisited on WLOY.org. I'm a videographer.
Don't skip over that show. We'll get to it again. I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
So I'm a videographer and I'm a photographer. And so when you first came to me about the idea, for me, when it comes to music, I'm all about emotion, and so what's the emotion that this music is supposed to grab onto and capture. And so when you first brought it to me, if you recall, what I typically do when I'm working on projects is I'll, if it's a song, then I'll write 4 or 5 different songs to one thing. And as a producer, I'll produce a couple of different tracks because I'm not sure about the feel of it. And so we had a follow-up conversation and I asked you, what is this? What is the song about? And you started describing it. And then I sent 2 versions. Now I know the version that I was thinking you would love. It was a little bit faster, and I was kind of, I was showing off a little bit. But then there was one that was, I feel like maybe melancholy is the word. And when you heard that, you said
more reflective. It wasn't sad.
Because it wasn't
introspective.
Maybe introspective. That's probably the better word. And when you said, yes to that, I was like, okay, I'm happy that you loved both versions.
Right.
And the one you picked, I played it for my wife and daughter, and they were like, yep, that's the one. that's it.
Yeah.
But you pushed me a little bit because I only did one verse the first time.
I forgot about that. Right. Yep.
Yeah, and I felt great about that verse. I felt like I was able to channel the energy that you asked me to. And then you came back and you said,
that was cool, but we need another verse. It's not a whole song yet. I was like, and I'm like, I was tripping, not in a negative way, but I was like, this was dope. It was like your words in the song were, if I had written them, that's exactly what I would have said if I was as dope as you. Like you spoke to me, and I think and I told you, it's because we both have been in this journey. So when I tell you write a song about this journey to being dope, I know you know what I feel because you live it too. But I'm a visual person. So like I'd already seen how I was going to use this in the film. So I knew that I needed a full song so we could release it as a single, but also I needed to be a certain length so it could work where I needed to work in the movie. So I was like, yo, this is dope. But I need a second verse. So yeah, I was like, okay, I know you're busy and you got shows and stuff, but I need a whole song.
Look, and the thing is when you said that, because for me it was like, okay, I feel great. I finished my thought. The verse is done, and so then it's like, okay, now I have to tap back into that energy,
right? And
it's everything about it. It's the way that I was saying it, even because there was a certain cadence I was using on that, and I don't want it to seem like it's 2 different verses on one song, so it was like tapping into the energy, but then what I was saying, and so I was a little hesitant because like once I'm done, it's like, that's perfect. It's like I set the table, I made the plate. And then you asked me to put gravy on salmon, and I'm like, gravy, what? So, but thankfully, I went back in, I sat with it, and I had to listen to my own words, a lot. And then I was able to come up with the second verse. And from there, once you started talking to me about the types of songs that you wanted, sort of the energy that you wanted,
Mm-hmm.
it was actually, it wasn't difficult. It was just that thankfully you were very descriptive and you knew what it was that you wanted,
Mm-hmm.
which is helpful as a producer to know, like, okay, where am I going to be? Because if I'm an artist, if you give us a blank slate, I'll send you some techno music and
Right,
I'll send
right,
you some
right.
house music.
And I think one of the difficult, I don't say difficult, the obstacles that we had was because, like, I was like, look, I need the music, but I didn't have all the scenes to even give you, like, to go on. So it wasn't like you were scoring a soundtrack. It wasn't like I sent you the movie and was like, all right, make the music to this. So it was like, we really, like I said, it was our first time, but also with the COVID, and like I said, we live and learn. So I know how we're going to do it different for the next time. But I think that we still, even though I think it was perfect exactly how it ended up this time, no matter what we can grow on the next time. But what I want to do, we're going to go to the song. I want to play the song now because, if you've been following this, you've probably heard the song, and you've had to have heard the song at least once. But you can go and download it on all streaming platforms as well. Please do that. Born to Be Dope. You might have to put in Salim's name, Saleem, as well, just to make sure they show up the whole thing. But let's go to the song, then we're going to come right. Well, we're not going to leave, but we're going to listen to it, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about that. All right, so here is the official theme song for the Born to Be Dope film by Saleem. Oh, wait, there we go. Yeah. Did you hear it?
I don't hear it.
Either. Let's see. There we go. I forgot to add it. Let's see. Oh, it's right there.
This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. I dreamed big like my visions were projected on a movie screen. Beachside staring into watercolor bluish green. Muscle with the hustle, turn my dreams into reality. I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams on a balcony. Scribbling notes into the margin of my composition. For what's next, match my efforts with my ambition. I failed success back, but kept pushing. Reinventing myself, establishing better footing. Fall down 6 times, but stand up 7, even when nobody else could see the places I was heading. I was driven, I had a vision that made a plan. Put it into practice with the actions of my hands. Put it into practice with my circle and my fam. Had my back before I became a businessman. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. My footsteps walk a different path. I did the knowledge, then I did the math. Factored in all of my failures, dream killers and negative talk that assails ya. Insecurities they projected onto me, internalizing the fear had me questioning my journey. I did my light, now I was scared to shine till I realized the baggage on my back wasn't mine. Then I made a conscious decision to fail without fear, study the lessons I was given. Facing setbacks is a given, but my setbacks never redefine my mission. Blessed with the village and blessed with ambition. Took in all the wisdom, it informed my intuition. Made a couple U-turns, but I learned transition is a necessary space to see my dreams come to fruition. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be, born to be, born to be.
right,
Yeah.
welcome back. So I don't know why we couldn't hear that, but I know it was playing. So I saw it on the YouTube and Facebook Live. So
And it was
great,
dope.
man. Yeah, it was dope. So talk to us about that, man. Let's take us to the journey because, like I said, the lyrics were exactly what I was looking for. Exactly what spoke to me about this journey to being dope, unapologetically you. We use people see how we use the lyrics in the actual movie as well. Talk to us about you finding that space to even come up with the lyrics to this song.
Well, and you said it best. We lived it and we live it, and and as an independent artist, as an entrepreneur, regardless of how different our industries may be or might be, we know the journey and the struggles and the self-doubt, selling people on a vision, where it's so clear in your mind, but for other people, they aren't inside of your brain, so they don't see the
Right.
vision, they don't see all of the ways that it connect, all of the ways that the ideas connect. They don't see how, for us, it's so easy, it's so simple and straightforward, and it's like, hey, everybody, it's almost like you're telling people the theory of relativity, and you're like, guys, look, or like it's it's these things that we've come to accept as everyday things. Like, so nowadays, FaceTime is an everyday thing. It makes perfect sense. But imagine trying to sell someone on that idea. We saw it in the Jetsons, and we thought
Right,
in
right,
in the 23rd century we'd be doing something like that. So it was literally that, when you live a journey, and you can identify with other artists about that journey, then we all feel that, we all feel all of those different things, and what our goal is, where we're trying to go versus where we are now. So it was all of those things, channeling all of that into the words. And at some points, quite honestly, I was like, okay, am I too personal? am
right,
i am
right,
i
right,
am
right.
I making these lyrics too personal? Because I want it to be something that everyone who's walked that
Make it
path can
personal.
identify with.
Yeah.
So that's really what it was. Like, you actually gave it was cathartic. You gave me an opportunity to an outlet to express some of my frustrations and challenges and ups
Yeah.
and downs through my journey.
And it's funny you mentioned that word because you weren't the only person who, like some people I interviewed, said the same exact thing. Like it was a cathartic experience for them, which was not the intent. But I'm glad that it, worked that way, and it just let me know I was on the right path as well with this project that is helping people already before, people who even in the project before others are even seeing it. So. Man, that I definitely love that. Now we talk about the two versions because now we used the tracks for both versions in the film, and the other version was dope. I mean, it was still dope, but it was definitely a little more, like you said, upbeat. Had that more swag to it.
Yes.
Your Salim ish. So it was
Yes.
dope. But I was like, yeah, it's not setting the mood I want like that. Yours, the second one more celebratory. Like after you get it, like all right, boom, I'm ready. I want to kind of walk us into it. So that was dope. So when you producing, like when you come up with the tracks, I mean, what was, and we don't have time to go into the whole process, but what is it when you at that, at the machines and you like, boom, that's the sound, that's what we're gonna start with, that's the basic. Talk to us about that process.
So for me, especially when bringing the viewers into this. So there was one point where you said, okay, I want something that's a little slower and a little more melancholy. So for me, it's okay. I know the feeling that I would get, and so I start listening through sounds, like literally listening through songs, samples, and trying to get a feel for what will give me that sound. Also, I know that, for example, that melancholy feel and that sound, I know it's probably going to be around 89, 88 BPMs, beats per minute. So I know certain things to put me in that area. And then, quite honestly, it's about producing, because it's really feeling, like, quite honestly. And so it's producing the track, getting a sample, manipulating it to try to put together a feeling. You know, it's the same when I write a verse. I'm writing from emotions and feeling. What words can I use to capture the emotion? And so it's no different with production. What sounds can I use to capture the emotions? And so that's kind of what it is. And then once I know the emotion that I want, it's honestly easy for me to listen through samples. Now I may listen through 20 samples before I get to a sample where I say, okay, that sample, I feel like I
Mhm.
can manipulate it to put me in that area.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of what it is with production.
Awesome, awesome, man. So we got two. Was it 2 or 3? We got 4 minutes. I want to talk with my eyes right now, but I couldn't see that. But let's talk about Hip Hop Revisited, the show, named after your. Was that the first album? Am I
That was
counting
my
right?
first full length
That was
album.
the first. Okay, I mean, I was there for all of them. Let's make sure I didn't get the count wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So first full length album, Hip Hop Revisited. You have a radio show, the #1 radio hip hop radio show in Maryland. That every Saturday 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, where you not just play some of the dopest hip hop out there, you have the conversation. I love the conversation part. That's my favorite part. I mean, you pull out some great music, of course, but I love the conversations between the songs and why you chose those songs. So tell us about Hip Hop Revisited, what the show is, how people can tune in to it as well.
So hip hop revisited, I say it's my love letter to hip hop, because hip hop is giving me so much and poured so much into me. And if anyone has seen Brown Sugar, she would always ask, when did you fall in love with hip hop? And so this show is my answer to that.
Mm,
And so I sort of describe it as, your favorite hip hop podcast meets your favorite radio show, because radio shows is less about the conversation and more about the music.
right,
Podcast is more about the conversation, and you really can't license the music.
right, right,
So
right.
that's one of the benefits of being on a college radio station, is that I have access to the music. And for me, it's we used to have barbershop conversations, back in the day. Who's the best MC, who had the best feature verse on song such and such. And because everything is so microwave, we don't get a chance to have those same conversations. We're always moving and and
Hmm.
and and going around on to the next thing. And so I wanted to create a space for the community of hip hop where we can all come together and have these conversations. So every show is about a topic. Who had the best debut album? And then we started looking at debut albums, and we build the music around the conversations, but the music is a combination of golden era music, 2000s music, current artists who are making quality music. And so for me, it's all about substantive music. If you take the music away, can the lyrics stand on their own? And that's the type of music that we try to highlight. The other part about it is it's college radio, and I love that because it is censored. So you can share, there's plenty of music we want to share with our children, but we're like, yeah, these lyrics, it's not
Right,
really
right,
going to work. We can't
right.
play doggy style music to our children, but
Not on the
with
radio.
the format, but not on the radio.
Right, right,
So with
right.
the format that I have, it's a show where you can sit down with your children and experience the music that you listen to in your formative years with your children and everyone. It's easily accessible. So again, it's WLOY.org, Loyola University's radio station, every Saturday, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I even do a live chat on
Yeah,
Facebook where
that's
we
right.
can
That's
talk
right.
about the
Yep.
songs that we're listening to. And you can go to www.hiphoprevisited.com, and it'll drop you on my landing page, and you can read about it. And you can also check it out on my Facebook page. I am Salim Music, because that's the hub of everything.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm proud of you. I'm so glad we got to do this project. Still waiting to get on your show. So I'm gonna need everybody who's watching to go and inbox Celine, tell him you want to see Raji on his show. All right, but
I can promise you that's going to happen soon,
all
very
right,
soon.
great, great, great. But listen, man, I'm just glad we were able to work together. I'm glad we were able to do this and start something. Like, this is not gonna be the last time, so I'm glad we start that. So I'm gonna give it to you. It's time to go to the movie. I'm gonna let you throw us to the movie. This is not rehearsal, so I'm gonna let you just throw us to the movie, man, and we're gonna go ahead and hit play.
So, all of us have talent, skills, and ability. And we don't have enough people pouring into us, letting us know that you are great. that you do have something special that other people can benefit from. And I think this movie is the perfect vehicle to show everybody that we're constantly underselling ourselves. But I promise you, you have something that we all need. And I hope when you see this movie, you're able to identify that in yourself. So you were born to be dope.
Thank you. That's going to do it for today's show. I want to thank our guest, Kareem Ellis, for joining us today. I'm your host, Ryan C. Greene. I'll talk to you next time. Whew. Man, Kareem, thanks again for joining us. You were great. But hey, if I'm being honest, this might be my last show. I think I'm.
Away from this? I know you lying to me, right?
Yes. I'm tired of watching everyone else surpass me. I'm tired of begging people for support. And I've been at this thing for a long time. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe.
I don't want forced advice, right? So I always ask for permission. So would you like me to give you some advice right now?
Sure thing, man. Go ahead. You give me some advice.
Okay, gotcha. Do you want some fluff advice or you want some real advice?
Hey, man, I don't get.
I read a story about a guy that went out to the Nevada desert. He was out jogging, right? And he happened to be just a little careless. I mean, it was like 90 plus degrees outside. He was hot. He was out there jogging in heat for a little bit. And so he found this rock pile, leaned up against it, pulled out his canteen, began to drink from it. But what he didn't recognize, man, is in the corner bush, there was a rattle going back and forth. He wasn't paying attention to it. He was distracted. And let me just be clear, because I'm going to break this down in segments, because a lot of times we put ourselves in situations and we're distracted. So we're not paying attention to what's going around us. And a little bit of what you're telling me sounds like you just a little bit distracted. You're in a situation, you're in an environment, but you're distracted. You're not paying attention to what's going on around you. And before you know it, the guy leans up against out of that bush, latches on his arm, and begins to inject venom inside of his veins. And he realizes what happens. He shakes the rattlesnake off, man. And if I don't get to a hospital quickly, it's game over. And I know we watch the old Westerns. I know we're probably about the same age. I know we watch the old Westerns where they say, suck the venom out. That's a wives' tale. You can't do that. You can't suck venom out once it's inside, right? So he jumps in the car, he calls 911, and they say, get to the hospital as soon as you possibly can, because there's a danger that you may pass out. And he pulls into the parking lot of the ER, and he runs inside and says, I need help. And they take him inside, and they ask him two important questions. Number one, the only reason that's important, because in order for them to save his life, they got to know what type of snake bit him. In other words, if he got bit by a rattlesnake and they're not aware of it, they can give the wrong medication that may take his life. See, a lot of people don't know how you make anti-venom. Basically, you take the venom from the whole snake, you mix it with antibodies, and that's how you get anti-venom. But I can't give you anti-venom from the wrong snake. I can't take King Cobra anti-venom and give you it for a rattlesnake bite. I can't take Black Mamba or Pit Viper and give you that anti-venom, because it'll end up taking your life. The thing that's so profound to me is simply this. The very venom that's threatening to take this man's life is the very venom needed to save his life. Now, why am I telling you this? And I want you to catch this. You don't get nothing else today. I want you to catch this one point right here. There are situations in life that we go through where we proverbially get bit. There are days we wake up and we know we got a calling, we got a purpose, we got something we doing, but life has a way of just biting us and biting us and biting us. And, it may be a bill situation, family situation. I'm dealing with all types of things. I get it. In my world, I get it, right? I go on stages and speak and keep a smile on my face, but I can be going through living hell because I just got bit by news that's disturbing to me. The problem being is this: too many people let the bite take them out. See, from my perspective, where I've seen you do, because I've watched your journey over social media, I've seen some of the greats you've had on this program. I've seen who you connected with. You smiling because you know it. I've seen who you connected with. And so the bottom line is this: the very fact that you've been bitten by tough situations and you're still here, that means you're no longer a victim to the bite. You walking around as walking, talking, living, breathing anti-venom. And why this is so crucial? Because when people come across Ryan Greene and they see your story, they see what you've gone through, they see the people that God has elaborately constructed for you to meet and coincide with. Because I don't believe in accident. As Les Brown says, accident is God's way of remaining anonymous. When people see the things that God has allowed you to do, it's gonna make sense to you. Then at that moment, it's gonna make sense to you why you was never designed to give up. Because at that moment, you, my friend, have gone from snake-bitten victim to walking, talking, living, breathing anti-venom. And our purpose, where we proverbially get bit. There are days we wake up and we know we got a calling, we got a purpose, we got something we're doing, but life has a way of just biting us and biting us and biting us. And, it may be a bill situation, family situation. I'm dealing with all types of things. I get it. In my world, I get it, right? I can go on stages and speak and keep a smile on my face, but I could be going through living hell because I just got bit by news that's disturbing to me. The problem being is this: too many people let the bite take them out. See, from my perspective, where I've seen you do, because I've watched your journey over social media, I've seen some of the greats you've had on this program. I've seen who you connected with. You smiling because you know it. I've seen who you connected with. And so the bottom line is this: the very fact that you've been bitten by tough situations and you're still here, that means you're no longer a victim to the bite. You walking around as walking, talking, living, breathing anti-venom. And why this is so crucial? Because when people come across Line Greene and they see your story, they see what you've gone through, they see the people that God has elaborately constructed for you to meet and coincide with. Because I don't believe in accident. As Les Brown says, accident is God's way of remaining anonymous. When people see the things that God has allowed you to do, the people you connected with, from this brand to just even the messages on some of your gear. Some of your gear can be a life-saving message that changes the hearts and minds of people around you. Then it's going to make sense to you. Then at that moment, it's going to make sense to you why you was never designed to give up. Because at that moment, you, my friend, have gone from snake-bitten victim to walking, talking, living, breathing anti-venom. And our purpose while we're here on this planet is not what we do with the challenges that are given to us. It's what happens to us once we go through the challenge. It's the transformation process that takes place. One of my favorite scriptures in the book of life says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That means I can be the victim, I can be the victor. The goal being from you, from my standpoint, is you already are the victor. If you was designed to give this thing up, you would have stopped years ago. So you don't see what I see, but I'm praying that you do. I'm praying that you see exactly what I see right now in front of me, man. I see a king. And the beautiful thing about kings don't demand, we decree a thing. My advice to you, start to decree what it is you want. No matter how tough things get, no matter how the situation looks, no matter how it sounds, no matter who comes, and most importantly, no matter who goes, there's never a door that can be shut that God won't crack a window for if it's going to catapult you into your destiny.
Man, you're right. I was born to be dope. I know just what I got to do. Let me go get my hair cut, change my clothes. I know just what I got to do. I'm going to talk to you later, man. Thank you, Greene.
This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. I dream big like my visions were projected on a movie screen. Each side staring into watercolor poetry. Muscle with the hustle, turn my dreams into reality. I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams on a balcony. Scribbling notes into the margin of my composition. But what's next? Match my efforts with my ambition. I fell 10 steps back, but kept pushing. Reinventing myself, establishing better footing. Fall down 6 times, but stand up 7 even when nobody else could see the places I was heading. I was driven. I had a vision that made a plan. Put it into practice with the actions of my hands. Put it into practice with my circle and my fam. Had my back before I became a businessman. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. My footsteps walk a different path. I did the knowledge, then I did the math. Factored in all of my failures, dream killers and negative talk that assails you. Insecurities they projected onto me, internalizing the fear, had me questioning my journey. I did my life back wasn't mine. Then I made a conscious decision to fail without fear, study the lessons I was given. Facing setbacks is a given, but my setbacks never redefine my mission. Blessed with the diligence, blessed with ambition. Took in all the wisdom and informed my intuition. Made a couple U-turns, but I learned transition is a necessary space to see my dreams come to fruition. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be born to be born to be.
Check, check. Ready? Cool. Hey, I'm Ryan C. Greene, founder of Greenhouse Media and creator of Born to Be Dope. You know, I made a crazy decision some years ago that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I say it was crazy because anyone who's ever started a business, you know that you got to be a little crazy to dive into entrepreneurship. But if you look at my high school memory book, at 18 years old, it asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up. My answer was simple. I said, I want to be a multi-million-dollar business owner. Now, here's the thing. While I'm still working on a multi-million-dollar part, I am indeed a business owner. But what I didn't realize way back then was just how much really goes into being a successful business owner. How much goes into pursuing any dream you're going after. I wish I knew back then not only how much you must pour into your dreams, but how much that pursuit actually takes out of you. Because when you are purpose to create and help other people in any fashion, there's a price you must pay. So my story is probably similar to many of you who watch this. It's probably similar to yours, where if you've ever had a dream and have ever actually pursued that dream, then no doubt you have quit on yourself at some point. You have questioned yourself and have wanted to give up more than once. You've looked at yourself and compared yourself to other people and asked, what's wrong with you? Question, is this what you were really called to do? Even after 16, 17 years in this thing, because things are always changing. And I've caught myself still questioning at times, am I good enough? Even after all the books I've written, after all the businesses I've created, after all the successes, after all the money I've helped other people make, I still found myself questioning my success and wondering if I'm really built for this. And if so, what was getting in the way of the major success and breakthrough I felt I deserved? The one thing, the one answer that kept resonating with me was be great at being you. Stop trying to fit the mold you were never created to squeeze into. And it's with that this entire Born to Be Dope project was born. I knew that my greatest success would be actualized after I gave myself permission to simply be unapologetically great at being me. To put authentically 100% Raji out there and let the chips. All right, folks, we are going to try one thing. I hear that the sound is not coming through 100%. We can't do that to everybody who's in the film. So we're going to try one more method to play this. And then if that doesn't work, let's see. So give me 1 second while I load this up for you all. Hopefully this is better. Take it back in. Y'all. Here we go. Let me do the screen share again. All right, hopefully this is better. We're gonna see.
Ambition. I failed success back, but kept pushing. Reinvented myself, establish a better footing. Fall down 6 times, but stand up 7 even when nobody else could see the places I was heading. I was driven. I had a vision, then made a plan. Put it into practice with the actions of my hands. Put it into practice with my circle and my fam. Had my back before I became a businessman. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. My footsteps walk a different path. I did the knowledge, then I did the math. Factored in all of my failures, dream killers and negative talk that assails ya. Insecurities they projected onto me, internalizing the fear had me questioning my journey. I did my light and I was scared to shine till I realized the baggage on my back wasn't mine. Then I made a conscious decision. I fell without fear, studied the lessons I was given. Facing setbacks is a given, but my setbacks never redefine my mission. Blessed with the village and blessed with ambition. Took in all the wisdom, it informed my intuition. Made a couple U-turns, but I learned transition is a necessary space to see my dreams come to fruition. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be, born to be, born to be.
Check. We ready? Cool. Hey, I'm Ryan C. Greene, founder of Greenhouse Media and creator of Born to be Dope. You know, I made a crazy decision some years ago that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I say it was crazy because anyone who's ever started a business, you know that you got to be a little crazy to dive into entrepreneurship. But if you look at my high school memory book, at 18 years old, it asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up. My answer was simple. I said, I want to be a multi-million-dollar business owner. Now, here's the thing. While I'm still working on a multi-million-dollar part, I am indeed a business owner. But what I didn't realize way back then was just how much really goes into being a successful business owner. How much goes into pursuing any dream you're going after. I wish I knew back then not only how much you must pour into your dreams, but how much that pursuit actually takes out of you. Because when you are purposed to create and help other people in any fashion, there's a price you must pay. So my story is probably similar to many of you who watch this. It's probably similar to yours, where if you've ever had a dream and have ever actually pursued that dream, then no doubt you have quit on yourself at some point. You have questioned yourself and have wanted to give up more than once. You've looked at yourself and compared yourself to other people and asked, what's wrong with you? Questioned, is this what you were really called to do? Even after 16, 17 years in this thing, because things are always changing. I've caught myself still questioning at times, am I good enough? Even after all the books I've written, after all the businesses I've created, after all the successes, after all the money I've helped other people make, I still found myself questioning my success and wondering if I'm really built for this. And if so, what was getting in the way of the major success and breakthrough I felt I deserved? The one thing, the one answer that kept resonating with me was, be great at being you. Stop trying to fit the mold you were never created to squeeze into. And it's with that this entire Born to be Dope project was born. I knew that my greatest success would be actualized after I gave myself permission to simply be unapologetically great at being me. To put authentically 100% Raji out there and let the chips fall where they may. So I began exploring what makes me me. What do I love and how do I love to express myself? What cultural influences have impacted me most of my life? And then like a kick drum on a Just Blaze beat, the answer hit me. Hip hop. I grew up in hip hop, so I've seen it from the early days, and it's always been one of the soundtracks of and the greatest influences on my life. It's no coincidence that hip hop has become the most powerful cultural force the world's ever seen. One of the main cornerstones of the culture is the way individuality and being unapologetically you have always been embraced and celebrated. Even in today's commercialized derivative of hip hop, the idea that you are dope enough to live life at the highest levels just by being you still sits at the foundation of the culture. So I've spoken on stages in front of tens of thousands of people, sold thousands of books across the globe, helped hundreds of others reach their dreams. Yet there are still those who will say, well, you gotta look like this, you gotta dress like that, you gotta speak like them, and so on. Well, I finally said, you know what? I know what makes me dope, what makes me unique and special. Most importantly, what makes me happy. And I'm going to tap into that and share that with the world. Once I figured it out for myself, my next plan was to encourage, empower, and equip others just like you to do the same thing. I want to help you share your dopeness with the world. So that's what this project is all about. It's all about living life on your terms
without fear of how others will judge you. It's about mastering, magnifying, and monetizing your unique dopeness so that you can have maximum success and impact in life. It's about being unapologetically great at being you. So I could sit here myself and tell you how dope you are and only share my story, but I have something better in store for you. Since I promised Kareem I wasn't going to quit, I decided to switch the game up and make a movie. I went and called on some of my dope friends, my dope leaders and influencers, and my dopest mentors and asked them to share their stories and wisdom with you and the world. And guess what? They all said yes. I can't wait for you to hear from them, as well as some of the dope music my man Salim produced. That's what Born to Be Dope is all about. This entire hip hop meets personal development experiment is all about collaboration with the best and the brightest, like a cipher. So we all grow personally and professionally, while simultaneously celebrating the culture that continues to inspire us all to be dope. So here's a quick warning. Hopefully, you didn't think you would come here and grab some popcorn and just watch a traditional movie and be entertained. I mean, hopefully, you will find this program entertaining, but this isn't Ozark or whatever your new favorite show is on Netflix. This is going to be a learning experience, edutainment, if you will. This is going to be a time for you to grow and take nuggets from this film and invest in yourself. So no matter what your dreams, no matter what your goals, by the end of this film, you will know without a doubt that you are more than enough to achieve them because you were born to be dope. Now let's get into it.
I'm Tyel Hayes, and I was born to be dope.
I am Dr. Cheryl Wood, and I was born to be dope.
I'm Curtis Ross, and I was born to be dope.
My name's Kareem Ray Ellis, speaker, teacher, trainer, #1 breakthrough strategist, and I was born to be dope.
I'm Tamika Blythers, and I was born to be dope.
My name is Montrella Cowan, and I was born to be dope.
I'm Marcellus Spaceman Shepard, the man with the voice, and I was born to be dope.
I'm Dr. Elizabeth A. Carter, and I was born to be dope.
I'm Dr. Kim McNair, and I'm born to be dope.
I'm Mark Clark, and I was born to be dope.
I am Dominic Emerson, and I was born to be dope.
I'm Brian J. O's, and I'm born to be dope.
I'm Taria Vision Avant, and guess what? I was born to be dope.
I'm Chief Judge Asha Jackson, and I was born to be dope.
You know, growing up in the mean streets of Baltimore, sometimes it was easier to find trouble than it was to find a good crab cake. No, I'm lying. I didn't grow up in the mean streets of Baltimore. I grew up in the county. It was pretty good where I grew up. Actually, like I grew up on the street, but it wasn't in the streets, if you know what I mean. Like I grew up, anyway, when I think about the journey to becoming dope, you know, that journey, we all have a journey. We all have a story. We all have things in the past that have shaped us and formed us. And I want you to really start to think as we go through this project, what were those experiences in your life that really helped you? What were those experiences that shaped you? They may be positive or negative, but let's focus on what positives we can pull out of those experiences, you see? Like I think about, you know, going to Catholic elementary school and going to Featherbed Lane. So the time I spent at Featherbed Lane, the time I spent at John Paul Regional, those shaped me, right? And I think about the people I've met who some I still am friends with today, right? And then going to middle school, to Old Court Middle and Milford Mill High School, growing up in Western Wind Circle. I mean, that community of people who just are still lifelong friends that are like brothers and sisters to me. That journey all matters, you know, that journey is all part of your story. And I can remember growing up in Woodlawn, then we moved out to the Randallstown area, Windsor Mill area, and just riding my bike up and down Liberty Road. You know, that was a time when you could just ride your bike and be, you know, in the community. Except that Black Omar was out, you know. Yeah, you know, y'all watch The Wire and y'all know about Omar and everything, but in my community, when I came up, there was a real Black Omar who was terrorizing our neighborhoods. And you know, so I just want to say to him, I don't know what happened to Black Omar, but now that I'm grown, I want to let you know that no, Omar, you cannot borrow my bike. No, you cannot hold my Tecmo Bowl game. He's not gonna see this, right? Omar's, he's not. Okay, cool. Yeah, I said what I said, Omar. But for real, when you are thinking about your journey, you know, what's your Black Omar? maybe I shouldn't say that. What's your Omar, right? What's your issue? What's the thing in your past that has terrorized you? The thing that's been haunting you for so long, you like, this thing is what's stopping me from breaking through. This thing is what's stopping me from being great at being me. This thing is what's stopping me from sharing my gift with the world. You got to look at your past, look at those negative things even, and say what positives came from that. How did that shape me? How did that make me? And what can I use from that on my journey to being dopeness, to being dope? And that's what this project is about. We want to help you on your journey to being dope. Someone might have told you for too long that nope, you're not good enough. Nope, you're not dope enough. We're here to tell you that you are. And everything that has happened to you in the past is not there to stop you, but it's all been there to build you and help you be dope.
Some of the secrets to discovering your own dopeness are really centered in knowing, one, who you are, and knowing that you are enough, you were born enough, you will be enough. Having that real revelation is going to be important in helping you really ignite, keep your own flame ignited. I think another piece of knowing that you were born dope is knowing that you're here, right? And the idea that many people didn't get to this space where you are now, where you're gonna go, and being resilient in the idea that this journey has prepared you to kind of take on this next space, and you have a lot of what you need in your past. Another piece of remembering that you were born dope is being thoughtful and appreciative of what the journey is. That dopeness is ever evolving. That you dope at 16 is gonna be different than you being dope at 21, at 35, and being really thoughtful about being okay with that adventure. Go on and have fun in it. Be dope in the adventure. Make the adventure dope.
My journey began back in 2009. At the time, I was still working in corporate America as a full-time legal secretary. I don't even know how I did that for so long, going to a desk, a 10 by 10 cubicle every day, punching a time clock and shuffling papers as a legal secretary. But I think that we do what we know how to do until we are bold enough to interrupt our norm and try something different. After all, you don't get anything different until you do something different. So in 2009, I found myself really frustrated, disconnected, and I wanted freedom. I wanted time freedom. I wanted financial freedom, and I wanted creative freedom, and I was not getting those things on my job. So I made a decision. And I love this quote by Tony Robbins, who says, "A real decision is measured by the fact that you've taken a new action. And if there is no new action, you have not truly decided." So my action was starting my own business. I started this little t-shirt business called Moms Are the Best. And on the weekends, when I wasn't working my full-time job, I would go to events, I would go to conferences, trade shows, flea markets, anywhere where they would let me set up a table, and I would sell these t-shirts. And sometimes it went well, and sometimes it didn't go so well. But I just kept persisting. Again, I was interrupting my norm. Well, 18 months into that journey, I get a phone call unexpectedly from somebody at Morgan State University who heard about the t-shirt company. And what they asked me was, will you come to our women's conference and will you speak and teach other moms in the community how to start their own businesses? Ironically, I wasn't a speaker. I didn't see myself as a speaker. I felt totally unqualified, and I burst out laughing and I said, "I think you've dialed the wrong number." They clarified that they were indeed looking for me, and that's when I gave myself permission to say yes. That first speaking engagement was September 18th, 2010. And I am so glad I said yes to the opportunity, yes to being curious enough to explore where that could take me, because that was the day I discovered that I was born to speak. And as they say, the rest is history.
I think a lot of people, man, they don't have those dreams. They don't set the benchmarks. And I think that's the part that we have to spend some time on. Finding out who you are and then going for what you want and not being afraid of that. You know, everybody has a right to have the life that they desire. And again, I believe you have everything inside of you to live that life. So go for it. You know, a lot of times, the only problem with the social media, in my opinion, we spend so much time looking at other people's lives and not spending time on our lives. You know what? He's making all this money. He got all this dough. What about you? You know, how much time have you spent today working on your dream? How much time have you worked thinking about, visualizing your dream? I'm on board with this vision board. I really wasn't, I'll be honest. But now, in my bathroom, it says, Mark Clark has $5 million in his Navy Credit Federal account. It's in there. I can't get to it right now, but it's in there, you know? And that's what I'm doing now. Homes, cars, lifestyle, giving back to the community. I'm writing these things down. I'm posting them on my vision board, and that's what I think is life's all about. And so that's what I encourage you to do, and go get it.
For those who feel like they haven't found their purpose, or they're not fulfilling their purpose or living out loud, this is the first day of the rest of your life. And every single day you get to wake up and do it all over again if it's not what you intended. But fall in love with the journey and not the destination, because so many times we get so focused on a script of who we think we should be. And a lot of times that's because that's what other people see in us or think we should be. And it's great to have people see your greatness and encourage you even when you can't see it yourself. But the beauty of it is it's all of the lessons and all of the people and all of the experiences along the journey to finding your purpose that really pour into your greatness. And so I would say get away from the script, get away from what someone else says that you have to be or do, and just live every day like it's your last day.
Anybody out there that's watching this, be encouraged. God did not make any mistake when he made you. He only made one of you. There may be other people in your space who can work similar to the way you do, but they cannot create things the way that you do. They can't write the way you do. They can't speak the way you do. So know that you are not a mistake. Everything you're supposed to be doing is lined up for you. All you have to do is open that door. Take that first step. And once you take that first step, just keep that perpetual motion going, one step after another. Now, here's the most important thing. As you go on your journey, make sure that you leave that door open, and not only keep it open, but go back and reach and grab the next person that's behind you so that you can help pull them along, propel them to the next level of their journey so that that train can continue to go, that cycle can continue to go, and we can continue to building each other up as men, as women, as fathers, as mothers, as entrepreneurs, as people that just want to do more. So be dope, man. You were born to be it.
You have to be the best version of yourself. And I think right now we obviously are in a generation that's highly influenced by social media, highly influenced by, people that we see on TV, and we oftentimes want to kind of duplicate success. I'm going to encourage you to not to duplicate success, but to strive to emulate success. Take the people that you see that are doing dope things, and instead of being jealous of them or trying to tear them down or trying to straight up copy what they're doing, tap into the thing that makes you unique. We don't need any more carbon copies of anybody else. We need you. Part of the reason why our tagline, Black Speakers Network, is Speak Up, Your Audience Awaits, is because we believe that there are people in this world that they are not going to move until they hear your voice. And you may not be a speaker, that's fine, but whatever that great thing is what's inside of you, that's the thing that we need to come out.
Let's get into it. T. Lee's in the building. They want to see us beef kinfolk instead of building. F the devil and his pitchfork. I fear no man, and everything I do henceforth is for my children. Listen, aside from the brilliance, not enough credit is given to the resilience. Not enough press for my efforts, and yet I still win. It's string in the flesh in spite of the surrealness. In light of the severeness, I shine a light on the world to guide us to the healing. I am not of the world. My appeal is not just the bars, people. I provide them with a feeling.
The thief in your life, you have to evict that thief. And the thief is comparison. Stop comparing yourself to other people and understand that you have been fearfully and wonderfully made. There are some things that you have to put in check in order to tap into your true dopeness. First of all, check out your vision, your voice, and your value. Start increasing your value and know your worth. Make sure that you have the right things coming in through your eye gates. And also, who are you listening to? That makes a difference. Next, Make sure that you're seizing every opportunity that's given to you and know that you are enough for that opportunity. You are worth that opportunity. Be obsessed with your transformation. Definitely that's what you want to do because you are valued. You are definitely worth it. Most importantly, you have to have a safe place where you can have some type of worship going on in your life. Read the Word of God. Have a true, firm belief system and surround yourself with those positive individuals who are your safety net. Those things right there, if you take those key factors, those key points, and implement them in your life, you will be able to tap into your true dopeness. I am Tamika Blithers, and I'm a product of my expectations and not the limitations.
All right, well, I want you all to think about how you can be dope in your life. And for me, I love acronyms. For me, dope is determination, optimism, passion, and energy. You need to exude all of those all the time because there will always be barriers. There will always be naysayers. There will always be haters. You have to be able to push through and know that you're unique. You are the only you. No one can be just like you. What you've been through, what you're experiencing, what you have yet to experience is what enables you to be dope. I tell you, no matter what you're facing right now, you can get through it. Again, having a positive attitude, knowing your why, and really thinking about that. Mark Twain said that there are two important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you find out why. Your why is your rebirth. That is your birth of being dope. Start to think about what that day will be. It may be tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next year. But start planning, start thinking. If you need help, reach out to family, friends, coaches, mentors. There are plenty of people out there to help you. You just need to ask. I know sometimes we hate to ask because we think that asking is like a weakness, but it's not. It's a strength because we need each other to move forward. We can't go far alone. We can go very far with family.
One of the benefits that I get in my career is I get to sit with a lot of data that people don't have. So I actually have done a lot of research on communities that I'm a part of and that many people are watching this are a part of. And what the data actually shows us, right, when we think about how bias impacts us, how discrimination, how microaggressions are present in our everyday life, it really does show us that there is a systemic agenda to make you not realize you're dope. Because the system knows you're dope. It knows that for a fact. But the system's job is if you believe you're not, then the system's done its work. So I'm gonna try to hide things from you so that you don't think you deserve them. And that way your dopeness doesn't need to get activated. But what I know that to be true empirically, systemically through our country. But what I believe firmly and truly is that you've gotta activate on your individual dopeness. You've gotta reach into the community and pull on community dopeness so that we can all then challenge against these systems that are still telling us that our dopeness isn't real, our dopeness isn't present, because in reality, they know that it's there, and they know that it is dangerous for them and their privilege, right? And so when you think about even genetically, how in this case, I use Black people. Genetically, how Black people are born, and that we have skin that soaks up the sun, and we have hair that rises to the heavens. Like, there's nothing more beautiful than that. And regardless of whether you have a religious belief or a scientific unbelief, we know that mankind started in Africa. We know that for a fact. So Adam and Eve look like me, and that's dope to realize that. But the system has told me that they don't. But in reality, they did. So the first people on this planet who God thought was the most beautiful look like me, then I think I have a right to feel beautiful. And I feel like I have a right to feel whole. And regardless of what the system is telling me, I should think and feel. I have to know that for myself. So ultimately, what I'll share with you some words that a dear friend shared with me is that everyone has a right to exist in the sun. And we should all live a life where we are trying and pursuing of living in as much sunlight as possible. Because again, my skin is born to absorb it. So that's where I always should be. So remember, you are dope. You are born dope. You will always be dope. I just want you to always remember that and push through.
You know a question I hate? And it's not that it's necessarily a bad question. It's just that it really just bugs me when people ask it. You know, whenever you meet someone, first thing they typically ask you is your name. And then within the next 2 or 3 questions, they're going to ask you, what do you do? Like I said, and that's the question. I hate, what do you do? And it's not, again, that the question is so bad, but the question kind of, when people ask you, what do you do, when they just met you, it kind of subconsciously is they're asking that question and putting you on a ranking scale. Like, okay, depending on your answer to what you do, they're going to determine how they're going to judge you and rank you on their level of where they want to respect you, what you can do for them, how important and valuable you may be to their lives. You know, so I always am bugged by that question when someone just meets you, what do you do? Because it doesn't really matter what I do when we just meet each other, right? And I think that so many people get caught up. We go through life and we're struggling to find happiness and fulfillment because we're too worried about the answer to what do we do. And I would encourage you today, I would encourage you by this program, at the end of this program, to stop focusing on what you do and start answering the question of who you are. Like, who are you? And I think that's a more important question that we ask each other. Who are we? Because, the answer to what you do can change. If you ask me, what do I do today? I'm a filmmaker. I'm a best-selling author. I'm an international speaker. But if you ask me, what do I do 10 years ago? The answer could have been, I'm a substitute teacher. 15 years ago, the answer could have been, I'm unemployed. We've seen over the last few years how people's answers to what do you do has changed. But what hasn't changed is who they are. Because see, even when I was a substitute teacher, even when I was unemployed, who I was always the same. I was always that same guy out there trying to go out there and build something, trying to go out there and create a media empire. Even if my what do I do didn't match that. So I would encourage you not to get so caught up in what you do, right? And worry about who you are, because when we talk about being unapologetically great at being you, and that's one of the things I love about the HBCU experience. Shout out to my alma mater, Hampton University, but shout out to all HBCUs, because the one thing they taught us, it was to be unapologetically black and be unapologetically great at being you. And you understand that you are enough, right? You're good enough, you're dope enough, just how you are, and it's what's in you that's going to be what's going to set you up for success in life. So I want to encourage you to stop worrying about, what do I do? Some people are doing things and you're pursuing careers because someone told you that career should be, it has certain prestige, but you're unhappy, right? You're not, you may make a lot of money, but you're not satisfied because you know that who you are inside. While you may be an attorney, you may be even a teacher, you may be, a carpenter, but who you are on the inside is something totally different. And you're looking for the opportunity to express that, and that's where that fulfillment is going to come. So when we talk about being dope, you can't be 100% dope until you're being unapologetically you. For me, I look at the example, like when I speak and when I'm out there on stages and people tell you, when you look at the personal development space, oh, well, you got to be, sharp in the suit and tie. You got to have the dress shirt on. You got to have the necktie around your neck for people to take you serious. But it came to the point, and I tried that. I've done that. And I look good in a suit. I'm not an anti-suit, but I know for me, it wasn't comfortable, right? I wasn't being authentically me. So I'm like, if I'm dope enough for you to listen to me in a suit and tie, then I'm dope enough for you to listen to me in a hoodie too, right? And whatever it is for you. Now, when I say be dope and be you, I don't mean go out there being weird for being weird's sake, right? Be you. But don't be afraid to express yourself because you're worried about other people are going to think, right? You need to go out there and be who you are authentically and unapologetically. So I want to encourage you, make sure that you go out there being you. You won't find your happiness until you're totally being you. I know when I took off that suit and I took off off that look, I don't even have a neck. So when I wear a dress shirt, I'm looking over like this. You can see this. The hoodie probably looks like a darn turtleneck on me right now. So I'm like, how am I gonna wear a dress shirt and tie just because you told me to, and I can't even breathe, and I'm sitting there like looking like a little turtle. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that was off script. I'm sorry. I'm just letting you know I mean this thing, right? I'm emotional about this. So I encourage you, go out there and just be you. Focus on who you are, not what you do, and you'll be dope right after that.
I remember I got hired. I was onto my radio career, and I got hired. I was working in Huntsville, Alabama, and the station closed down, and everybody at the station, all the full-timers, got jobs, but I did not. So I was in Huntsville without a job, and everybody else had gone on to a better opportunity. So I get this call to go to Charleston. Now, you know that saying, you better be careful what you pray for. So Huntsville had one AM urban radio station. Charleston had 4, and had 4 FM stations and the AM station. So they have 5 black radio stations. And I got hired to be the morning man on the #1 radio station. So it's showtime, baby. It's game time. What you gonna do, Mark? So I get there, and the thing that happened was I'd never really been, I was my own boss in Huntsville, which was a small market. I really hadn't been, I never had a boss over me telling me what to say and what to do. So not only was I in this very competitive market, this high stakes situation because there was competition, it was the first time I had to take orders from someone else, and I had to do what they said. So in radio, there's a thing called the identifier or positioner stations have, and that's what they usually say when they open the microphone. We play all the jams, or this station's positioner was triple the music, Z93. Triple the music, Z93. So for some reason, and probably because I was scared, my nerves got to me, for whatever reason, they started me on the afternoon show, and then I was gonna do mornings once I got warmed up, right? So it's on a Monday. I start on Monday. By Thursday, the bosses come in the station. They come in the studio. The owners are sitting in the studio. They said, Mark, this is the 4th day, and you cannot say triple music. We hired you to be our morning man and to hold on to our #1 place, but you can't say triple the music, Z93. So if you don't figure this out fast, then this is going to be a bad situation, and we might have to let you go. So now, I knew I could say triple the music, Z93, but I had to look inside and find out what's going on. And as we know, what is that? What was going on? Fear. A lot of times fear can paralyze you. Fear can make you forget who you are, right? It can make you forget who you are. So I went home, and I don't know if you've ever seen the little booklet, My Daily Bread. It's like a little booklet that comes. Man, I read through the whole book. I read every page, but for some reason, it was like a reset. It was a reset. And then on Friday when I came in, I was like, triple the music, Z93. And the rest is history. I went on to do mornings, and I did mornings and nights there, had great success, but it was remembering who I was. And I think back to my original point, you're a child of God. You're a child, whatever you believe in, you have everything you need to succeed. You just have to remember who you are. Don't forget it, and don't let anybody let you forget it, and you don't forget it.
I think it's a fallacy that children grow up thinking that they will always believe they are enough. What we know to be true is that yes, you are born enough. I believe we come into this world with all the love and skill sets that we need to thrive and be dope. However, especially if you are in any minority group, what the broader majority tells you from the first day of your hand that you're not enough. So that journey to get back to your true state is the one that I think we're all on. It's the one that I've been on. And so I think that's especially true for me being a double minority. So obviously being a black man, and that's obvious, but also being a gay man, I feel like I have been constantly told by various groups that I'm not quite enough. I'm not quite right. I don't quite deserve. I'm not worthy enough. I don't quite belong. And that constant bombardment of messaging, whether it's direct or indirect, has definitely shaped how I grew up. It took me a long time in my adult life to circle back to the idea that I actually authentically do believe that I am worthy, that I authentically do believe that I am enough. And for me, I think that revelation is the part that revelation is what's dope, is getting to that revelation that I am enough.
So I'm chief judge of a large metro circuit here in Atlanta, and it is an enormous position being the head effectively of a whole branch of government, the judicial branch of government. It hasn't come without its hardships. As a black female, I think oftentimes people assume certain things about us, like we can be divas, or perhaps that we are not supposed to be as well read or well studied or well prepared as our male counterparts. Being a black female chief judge doesn't come without its challenges and obstacles. When I was a female litigator at a large law firm and presiding over multinational litigation, I'd show up in the courtroom and some of my male counterparts, even African American male counterparts, would ask if I was the court reporter. Now, being a court reporter is a prestigious profession and no less one of the most important professions in the court system. But I often wonder why people assume that women are the court reporters or the administrative assistant and not the lawyers. And that happened on several occasions. But it was due to the mentoring and the encouragement, sometimes of people who didn't look like me, including one of the first partners that I had in the law, a white male named Tom Carlock, who pushed me and encouraged me and taught me how to litigate, that I became the strong and prepared litigator that I am. And prior to becoming a judge, he would say to me, go in the courtroom, you are prepared, you are an excellent litigator, and you just need only show that you can do the job. Let the work speak for itself. And so that's been my mantra in my profession, is that I let the work speak for me.
Back in 2016, I thought I was moving up my career ladder wonderfully. I was doing what I had to do, working late, weekends, but my company must not have thought the same way about me, because as I thought I was working well, thinking I was going to get promoted, hoping that I would be recognized, instead, I got laid off. And that was really a revelation for me, because I had put all of my eggs in one basket. I was so dependent on this company to allow me to grow with them that I had to stop and think about my own life, my own destiny, and taking control of it all on my own. And that's how I became dope. I used my determination, optimism, passion, and experience to ensure that I was the CEO of my own life. I will always be in control now. I am always executing every single day, and I have seen the outcomes in my favor. I am a valued employee now for a health insurance company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I have my own LLC, Appeal, where I am helping young African American women move up their corporate ladder, learning from my mistakes. I want to be someone that looks like them, that can assist them in their journey.
I'm a firm believer that we are a product of our expectations and not the limitations. So you have to think about this. What are you saying? What are you seeing? Are you getting those results? If not, you need to check exactly what you're looking at, who you're listening to, because greatness, it is inside of you. Two things that you need to know. You were born to be dope, because think about this. When it comes to DNA, there's no other DNA in this world like yours, and that's for a reason. The world needs what you have to offer, the gifts and talents that are inside of you. You are more than enough. You were born to be dope, remember that. And the second thing is, you have permission to go out and be great.
One of the most freeing things about me is that I love being me. Like, I believe that Jesus Christ walked this earth, and at the same time, and in the same sentence, I will talk about drinking Jesus juice. Okay, I like wine. I will also put on a little ratchet hip hop music, and I just love being myself, because the thing is this, like, when you are always being who you are, when you are out there in the public, you ain't gotta be nobody else, right? And it's so freeing and so liberating. Now, in this, being yourself and being willing to express the way that you want, I want you to also understand something. Everybody's not gonna love it. And I think the challenge that many of us have, especially in this journey of life, whether it's entrepreneurship, growing the corporate ladder, relationships, all that stuff, in this journey of life, I think we think that everybody's supposed to like us, or everybody's supposed to agree with how we are. Well, they're not. That's why God gave us all emotions. God gave us all opinions. You know, they say everybody got opinion, just like we got booty holes, right? And so you must understand that, like, when you make a decision to authentically be yourself, everybody's not going to love you for it. And it's okay. The only thing I will say is just make sure that when you are in that journey of being yourself, do your best to do right by people. Now, I also get some people that say, well, Taria, I don't know what that looked like. I don't know what can I do? Like, I don't know where should I be or what should I get started in. So for me, one thing that I had to be good with is that whoever you believe in, I believe in God. When I asked him, why am I here? And he answered it in a way that I wasn't necessarily expecting. I had to trust it. Like, I had to trust what was given to me and know that in that journey it won't go be perfect. And so I'm gonna push forward. What are the things that you like to do? What are the things that you know how to do? What are the things that maybe people come to you for that you don't even think is a big deal? That could be why you're here. And so, you know, I made that decision. When I was in network marketing, y'all, they used to have us wearing suits, child. I remember one time my upline told me, Taria, you talk a little ratchet. All right, so I went into the meeting, right? And I was trying to talk real professional. You know, I was doing a little hands like this. And so everyone, today we're gonna, and eventually as I kept talking, like, it was like the meat just kept coming out even more. By the time I was done, I was back acting the way I act. And let me tell you something, everybody came to me that day. It was like, girl, you tore it down. And so when I learned that, like, I didn't have to try to become someone else or try to do what other people thought I should do, and literally trust in him that he gave me this personality for a reason, I was able to just be myself. And so I love it, y'all. Like, it is a freeing feeling to just really just be who you are and give no F's.
I live by this poem. It's Invictus, and I learned this when I was in college. But at the end of the poem, it clearly and very definitively states that I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Well, you are the master of your fate, right? So that means you are the captain of your soul. So that means that all of the other stuff that we ever come in contact with doesn't really matter if we don't let it matter, right? So the idea is to be able to look at yourself and give your life definition from your perspective, from your point of view, right? Being able to see the world from your eyes and understanding that the reality is that you and I do not see things as they are, but we see things as we are. So that means that we're going to move and we're going to navigate life all in the perspective of how we see it. So if life is all about how we see it, then that means that if I change the way I see my life, right, then it's possible that I'll change the way I experience my life.
When people ask, hey, what do you like most about Ryan? You know, a lot of times they get the same answers. Oh, his vision, his ambition, his hustle, those things, you know, are admirable. We love that about Ryan, and that's cool. Like, I appreciate that. But one thing about people with ambition, people with vision, that you may not understand or see is that ambition, that comes at a cost, right? That comes with a price. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of loss, there's a lot of hard times that come with someone's ambition, right? You know, and I look at things like I've lost so much. And maybe you've been there. Like, I've lost my first marriage. I've lost the ability to see my kids grow up every single day. I've lost homes to foreclosure. I've lost cars to repossession, right? I've lost both my parents. I've had lights cut off. I've been on food stamps as an adult. So those are the kind of things that, you know, you don't see those stories told from the state. You don't see people celebrating those things, or you just see the end result. But there's a lot that goes into that, and there's a lot of loss. So when people look at me and they say, well, when they find out those stories, they say, well, after you lost it all, after you lost everything, how do you keep going? And to me, the answer is simple. What other choice do I have? Now, see, I'm not talking about a mental health issue. That's a conversation I'm not qualified to have. But I'm talking about someone who's pursuing a goal, you're pursuing a dream. If you're going after something and you lose along the way, that's what I'm talking about. What other choice do you have but to keep pushing? See, if you were actually purposed for something, then, and you know this is what your purpose is, and this is where you're supposed to go, then nothing should stop you. That doesn't mean that it's going to automatically happen overnight, right? Because there's a purpose, but then there's also a preparation. Sometimes we find out our purpose, but we're not prepared for that purpose yet, right? So there's a preparation period. And part of that preparation, sometimes you have to shed certain things, right? You have to shed certain things around you. Sometimes they're physical things. Sometimes they're people that they have to go. Some of your relationships you're holding on to, you shouldn't be holding on to right now because that's holding you back. But here's the thing, right? When you're in that situation, when you're losing everything, all your instincts is just to grab on and hold on to anything to stop you from falling, right? And you're squeezing, just holding on. All right, I lost my car, but I can't lose my house. I lost my house, but I can't lose my clothes. Oh, I lost my job, but I can't lose this. And we're just squeezing and holding on to anything to make us feel like we're still valuable, anything to make us feel like we're still alive. But eventually we hold and we squeeze and we squeeze and we squeeze and we can't hold it anymore, and eventually we lose it all. But the thing about that release and the thing about letting go of the things we're holding on to, that now it opens our hands up to receive the blessings that were promised to us. See, you can't receive anything in a closed fist. Your hands gotta be open to receive those blessings. So when you lose things along the way, yeah, it doesn't feel good. It's painful. It's gonna hurt. It's embarrassing, right? You don't want to share that with anybody. But the bottom line is that loss, when you're on the right path, is all part of the plan to make sure that you are prepared to receive those things on the back end. So I encourage you today that as you're going through this journey, as you're going through, you may have lost something already, or you may be fearing that you're gonna lose something. Stop being so focused on those things and start focusing on you, and understand that you can still do it, you can still push, you can still grow, and that those things are only temporary, right? You wanna go into an abundant mindset. I live life with an abundant mentality. There's just blessings upon blessings upon blessings that are there for me. And they're there for you as well. And that's the thing about it. There's enough for everybody. So we don't have to, keep our secrets from other people. We don't have to be afraid to share with other people. This whole Born to Be Dope, project, this is about abundance and sharing. Like, I'm bringing other voices of people to help you as well, because, my story may not resonate with you. Maybe someone else's will. But it's all about giving everyone a voice and sharing in that journey. So I want to encourage you to make sure that you understand that even, no matter what you lost, to celebrate what you're about to gain to replace it.
If you have been sitting next to me and as a little kid, sitting in the living room floor, I was always the type of kid that was watching the NASA space shuttle launches. And so my goal at that time was to be either an astronaut or aerospace engineer, one of those two. And so as the years went on, I made it through middle school, made it through high school, eventually got to college, and I had one class waiting for me. It was called Calculus 2. And so I don't know about anybody else, but for me, having to find the limit or, actually get through that class was one of the most difficult things I had to do. And I was like, let me just go see what the School of Business is talking about. And so I actually got accepted into an engineering program at Morgan State University, but Calculus 2 was the end of the road for me. And so I was lost. I think like a lot of people, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to try to figure out everything in life at one time. And for 18, 19 or 20-year-old, that's a lot of pressure. And so I was lost. I had no idea what my next step was going to be in life. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I spent really the better part of my, childhood chasing one dream. And, what do you do when you feel like all of that is now taken away from you?
Wow, there was a time when I was just ready to quit, give it up, just say, hey, I'm going to get a corporate job, I'm going to work. And then I reflect back on where I came from to where I am today. Because see, my then is not my now. I thought about the times when I had to get up. See, I started modeling at the age of 14. So I had to ride the train. I had to go through all those different avenues to get to work, going on go-sees, auditions, photo shoots, all those different things at a very young age when my other teenage friends were just having a good time, going to school, having fun, playing softball. Couldn't do that because I was my brand and I had to go out there and market myself and use it. So I think about the agency that felt enough or believed enough in me to say, I want to sign this little brown girl. So when I was going through a change, when I was transitioning, retiring from the fashion industry and moving from Bright Lights, big city, to Orlando, Florida, I went through a stage where I was just wanting to quit. I just want to give up. When I get there, I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get me a job. I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to raise my family. I'm going to keep it moving. But he had a different plan. It just wasn't there. A still voice came to me and said, oh my gosh, are you serious? Do you really, really want to give up now? There's so much more inside of you. You have so many gifts and talents. Put it to work. And what I did, I went out in the community, I networked, I got to know who the movers and shakers were in the city of Orlando. I took $500 and a dream and produced my first fashion show. And that was 30 years ago.
There was a time in my life where I had a vision, but those around me could not see my vision. They couldn't understand it. When I left public radio, I went to commercial radio for a few years, 92Q. And when I came back to public radio, I came back with one thing in mind, which was having a syndicated radio show. I didn't see that opportunity for me on the commercial landscape because there were a few people that had shows and that was pretty much it. So when I came back to public radio, it was with the mindset of having a syndicated show. Early on, before I left, one of my programmers, my program director, had created a show, the Cool Jazz Countdown. I served as a producer on that show. So when he left the show, I continued on as the host. Well, a few years goes by and I have the idea of syndicating the show, but I wanted to do it with him because he was the one that created it. So he and I had a conversation about it. I then went to my general manager, someone who I trusted, someone who's huge in the space and has launched shows, has launched stations and everything. And I presented him with the idea. And he said, yeah, that's not gonna work. And I said, what do you mean? Why is it not gonna work? And he said, well, you need to have a big name person. And he starts naming different jazz artists out there that I could bring in as a co-host. He said, you know, you gotta have that draw to bring the people in to listen. And I told him, no, I am the draw. I am the voice, the person that is going to do that. He couldn't see that vision, and he told me it wasn't going to work. And I'll tell anybody out there, tell me that I can't do something, and I'm going to do it. Plain and simple, that's the worst thing you can tell me, is that I can't make something work. So I was determined, and it took me 2 years to syndicate that show. That was 12 years ago. I am now syndicated on 30 stations across the country.
Once hip-hop found me, you know what I'm saying, it's like, and immediately when I thought about, you know, the fact 83, 84 that I wanted to do, you know, be an MC for real, you know, I started shopping demo tapes all through high school. And so, you know, with the hopes of landing a recording contract, I sent tapes to Def Jam, sent tapes to Next Plateau, sent tapes to Tommy Boy, I believe. You know, there's a bunch of them. But, you know, they want cassette tapes. For all the kids out there, they want cassette. They don't do cassettes anymore. Everything is digital. So you're talking about analog. So, you know, and I understand why I never got a call back, because the cassettes was very, very ashy. You know what I mean? We did it on a home recorder where you press play and record on a boombox. And so the sound quality was not there. It wasn't, you know, professional studio. It wasn't in a professional studio or anything like that. So, but I told myself, I said, if I don't get a deal by the time I'm headed to college, because I'm still, scholarly, if you will. My mother was not having it. You had to get an education. So if I did not have a deal by the time I went to college, then it was over. I wasn't doing it anymore. And so, of course, I didn't get the deal. So I got a letter, a couple of letters, but one letter in particular saying that you've been accepted to our institution was from Howard University, the Howard University in Washington, D.C. And so, I gladly accepted their offer. And I said, hey, I want to become a sports broadcaster because that was my other passion. I played sports in high school. I got a Division II offer for baseball and basketball, but it wasn't Division I, so I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. The music outweighed that. If it had been Division I, it might have been something different. But going into Howard, I figured I'd study communications, become a sports broadcaster, and that's where the journey was headed until I got to my first semester. I got through my first semester, going to the second semester, and I meet a guy by the name of Derek D. Angeletti. Now, to give you some background, Derek D. Angeletti is responsible for the likes of the Benjamins. He's responsible for Money, Power, Respect. The Benjamins by the Lox and Puff. Money, Power, Respect by the Lox. Where I'm From by Jay-Z. Amongst a multitude of Feel So Good by Mace. Just a multitude of records that are out there. But that will come later. But D-Dot, I met him on campus and I heard him rhyming. And when I heard him and this other cat by the name of China Black rhyming in front of a place called Blackburn Center, which is right in the center of the yard at Howard University, it was like, oh man, here's hip hop finding me again. You know what I mean? Just when I thought I was over, just when I thought I wasn't going to do it anymore, hip hop said no, come on back. You know what I mean? And I immediately caught the bug, developed a relationship with him, and that, would eventually land me a record deal with Mark Pitts of Boston Entertainment, who also went to Howard.
I got a call. I was at work, and my father was actually going into the hospital. Now, y'all know, when you get one of them calls where they like, they telling you somebody going into the hospital, it ain't one of them calls where it's like somebody got a cold. And so I had to get there to see him. He was living in New Jersey at the time while I was still in Virginia. And I remember not even having enough money to go see my father. So I had sacrificed all these years to go to college. They told me I was gonna make this money. I ain't even got enough money to go see my dad. I had to catch the China bus. And if you live on the East Coast, you know what China bus is all about. Everybody don't know what that is. But it goes into Chinatown, New York. So long story short, he did end up passing away from stage 4 lung cancer. And at that point in my life, it was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever witnessed. And like, I just remember being in a space like, dang, man, I don't think he did everything he said he wanted to do in life. Like, I felt it. And so I remember when we were celebrating his life, and there's this guy there that was from India. And as he was paying his respects, he was really not able to keep himself together. The man was just crying, and then when he walked out the door, I'll never forget, I always look over here because this is where he was at, and he fell to his knees. And at that moment, I thought to myself, I wonder, did my dad know how much of an impact he left on these people's lives? And that's when I got tired of just kind of being complacent with life and just kind of existing and talking about what I was gonna do and all that. And that's when I made a decision. I didn't want to question if I was impacting people's life. I wanted to know. So I moved to Atlanta and I started my journey of no longer being a tripreneur, but an official entrepreneur. And man, I got busy. And so that's how I got into the space, I guess, of my dopeness. Poppycolla.
There I was, working a job I hated. I would go in every day knowing I didn't want to be there. I'd sit outside before it was time to go in, questioning all the things I could be doing with my time that day, rather than sitting in this place answering these calls for 8 hours a day. And every day was the same routine. I would walk in and go up the 3 flights of steps to my office, and I would look over top the balcony that we had and look down below, and I would ask myself the same question. If I jumped, would I die? Now, I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't literally going to jump over there and kill myself. But the fact of the matter is, I felt like I was killing my dreams, my purpose, and my potential every single day going into this job that I knew I hated, and it didn't matter. So eventually, the time came where we went separate ways. You know, it was time to end my contract, so I didn't get fired, and Anna didn't quit. We just didn't continue our work agreement. So, but I made a decision at that moment. I was like, you know what? Anything I do from this point forward has to matter, right? I wanted my work to matter because, you know, we a lot of people work jobs you don't like, but we know we have bills to pay, we got responsibilities, you got things you have to do. But I knew that there was, you know, I was never created to just go and work for someone else forever, right? To do, you know, that 40-year plan was never, that wasn't stitched in my DNA. I'm sorry, you know, just the idea of having to go and ask somebody for my time for vacation just doesn't sit right with me. You know, working all day and asking someone for permission to go pee-pee, that, you know, it just takes something away from me that I just don't like having happen. But regardless, you do what you got to do. But when I left that position, I knew that it was important for me to make sure that anything I did after that did two things. That was provide unforgettable impact for the people I was serving and provide abundant fulfillment for me. So I would encourage you to make sure that, you know, if you're working a job that you hate or you're doing something right now that you know that you don't really want to do, you're in a position where you're unhappy, find out what makes you happy. Find out what matters to you. Find out what will provide the impact you look to provide to other people, but also will provide that fulfillment to you because, hey, you deserve to be happy, okay? There's nothing that says that because you serve other people that you're supposed to be neglected, that you're supposed to be sad, that you're supposed to just give up everything. You deserve to be happy and fulfilled as well in the work that you do. So don't get it twisted. Don't go out there and sacrifice everything for someone else and you're unhappy and not being fulfilled. So I want to encourage you, make sure that you go out there and just be focused on making it matter. We talk about being dope, you know, and walking in your dopeness. It's about making that you have to have that impact in the world and make sure that you are touching people in a way that matters in their lives, matters to you. So stop being so forced to live inside a box someone else told you should live in, right? Your story matters. Your experience matters. Your happiness matters. All right, your journey matters. And we want to encourage you to make sure that you go after it in a way that you know that it matters, that everyone else is going to be inspired by it as well.
I was forced to move from New York City, where I was born, to Washington, D.C. And although my daddy tried to warn me, it fell on deaf ears. Unfortunately, I was targeted and a predator who posed as a teenager raped me. As a result of that, I became pregnant and I had a baby at the age of 15. When I found out that I was pregnant, that was definitely a moment I felt like giving up. As a lot of sexual survivors experience, I felt shame and guilt. And not only did I betray my biological father, I felt like I betrayed the Heavenly Father. But there's something about when you have a baby. China's birth, it reinvented me. Now I had to give a damn about myself because I had someone else to care for. And I was determined to make sure that she had those opportunities that I never had. And as many parents know, your children really do inspire you to take it to that next level. China, like you, was dope. She ran track, she did martial arts, she even traveled to Africa to help a women's group in business as a teenager. Later on, she became a mama and even a homeowner in Chocolate City, the gentrified Chocolate City. Why the urgency? Why are we stressing like live into your dopeness? It is because in 2018, it brought me quite a tragedy. Now, here I was getting ready to celebrate my 41st trip around the sun. And unfortunately, my mother, who had won the battle of a 30-year addiction to crack cocaine, transitioned to heaven by heart failure. And it was just 4 months and only 11 months after diagnosis that my daughter China passed away from lupus. So if you remember nothing else, listen, don't take your dopeness with you when you transition. China was dope, like I mentioned. She created a legacy and she did fulfill her purpose. So I challenge you today, I beg you to start to live in your divine purpose, because no one else can fulfill that. The clock is ticking and we just don't know how long we have. Don't take your dopeness with you.
I get down to my last $7. And so what am I going to do with $7? My pride would not let me go get a job. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't work in a regular, you know what I mean? I was just on TV. I can't do that. So, you know, but we're down to $7. So what do you do? But again, like I began this whole thing, my faith, my belief has always gotten me through everything. So I went to church. This is a symbolic gesture, and I put the $7 in the pan, and really that was something that I, you know, it was a conversation with God, and I was saying, look, you take the 7, I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave it all on you, up to you. You know what I mean? So I put the $7 in the pan. I could have went and got a meal, but then that would have been it. So then I get a call a week later from that. And it's from Wayne Barrow. Now, Wayne Barrow is the president of Boston. He's Mark Pitt's cousin. And so he says, hey, Universal's been looking for you. They said they have a check, but they don't have an address for you. Because remember I told you, I moved around. So now I don't have an address. But now they're looking for me. They got a check. So call this number and tell them where you are. Send you a check. So once I gave that offering, gave him a call, gave him the address. The week after I made that call, I got a check in the mail for $7,000. Then the week after I got that $7,000, I get another check in the mail for $57,000. So again, I don't get into discussions about faith. I don't get into discussions about God with anyone, because I know how my situation is set up. And that's not the only incident. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sharing this incident with you guys. So I just don't get into it. As soon as you start wanting to go, I'm out of that. You know what I mean? So nevertheless, but I share my testimony for those that with the hopes that it can encourage. And in case you are in certain situations that you just need, that are way beyond your control. People got to understand, there's a lot of things, there's things you can control, you put your hands on, but there's a lot of things you cannot control. You were born, that was in your control. You know what I'm saying? You had nothing to do with that. So if you think about it in those terms, you know, for those that need this kind of testimony, this is why I share it. So then from that point, it's like, okay, we're gonna figure some things out here. And so that's when the light went off and say, hey man, you probably want to go get a job to sustain yourself. Here's another story. It's a funny moment. I went and started moving furniture at this place called Aaron's, and I would deliver furniture to people, you know, that rented furniture, that wanted to rent or lease furniture, should I say? So one day, you know, we put this couch set in this cat's house, in this person's house, and as I'm moving the furniture, you know, I noticed they got BET on. And they're, you know, playing the video. So I'm moving the couch and the dude is looking at me. And then he looks at the TV. Because the theme is party time is on the television. The video is playing. So he looks at me and he looks at the TV again as I'm moving the couch. And he looks at it. He said, hey man, what are you doing in here?
So to be honest, even though I love what I do, there have been numerous times where I thought about throwing in the towel, because this journey to success and being dope is not easy. But I remember specifically when I was early on in the journey and I finally made a decision that I was going to walk away from my corporate job. Now, first of all, that was a hard decision because I grew up in an environment where my mom taught me, hey, you go out, you get a great job. If you find that great job, you stay on that job until you retire. And here I was thinking about, again, interrupting my norm, being a disruptor, and doing something completely opposite of what I had always been taught. So I got the courage up to walk away from my good government job, y'all. You know how that is. That direct deposit that you get every 2 weeks. And I was terrified. And at the time, I was just talking about replacing about $75,000 a year. But from my perspective as a girl who grew up in poverty and scarcity and who didn't have a college degree, you know, that piece of paper that we oftentimes depend on to say that we're good enough, to have landed that position, making $75,000 a year plus benefits, I felt like maybe I shouldn't rock the boat, even though I know this is not connected to my legacy. So to make the decision and to press forward with the decision and to turn in my resignation letter was huge for me. So when I did it, I was terrified. My palms were sweaty and my heart was racing, but I did it anyway because I could see a vision of something greater on the other side of that. Lo and behold, 6 months later, my husband gets laid off from his job. We are majorly terrified now because the question becomes, what do we do with this? Do I go back to a job? The thing that I just walked away from 6 months earlier and said I was going to pursue my God-given gift and my divine assignment, the calling on my life, the thing that brings me so much joy. Am I going to do that? Or am I going to go back to what I already know? Am I going to go back to the thing that feels safe and secure? That was a fork in the road. And in that moment, my husband and I, he was a cheerleader in a big way. We made the decision. You already know what it's like to work a job, to punch a time clock and build somebody else's dream. No, we got to stay on this path and we've got to blaze this new trail so that we can create a different reality for ourselves. So with that decision came a lot of loss. We lost everything, financially, everything, materially, everything. The house, the cars. I mean, we were, as I like to tease and joke now, say, we were broke, busted, and disgusted. And we can laugh about it now because we're past that moment. But in the moment, it was the hardest thing we had ever experienced. But again, until you interrupt what you've always done, you will never experience anything different. And today, I'm so glad that we stuck with it. I'm glad that we kept forging ahead. I'm glad that we persevered because I believe that sometimes in order to gain it all, first, you gotta lose it all. And that became a part of my story so that I could connect in a greater way with the people who I would serve, who would lose things, who would give up things in order to pursue their passion and their purpose. And my belief is, if you ain't been through nothing, you can't teach me nothing. So now from this perspective, I thank God for that experience because it allows me to connect on a deeper level with the people who I'm called to serve, to remind them that it's okay to lose in order to gain.
I was at this point where, I was trying to do everything. And it was bad, y'all. I was coaching on so many different programs. I would get on the phone with somebody and be like, "Now, what program you enrolled into?" I was doing too much. So I said, "Okay, Taria, listen, if you want to be known for something, you must figure it out what's the one thing." And so I decided to strip away from all the other courses and I did books. And I paid attention to what was the number one challenge that I was seeing many of the authors have, and that was making money. They would launch the book one time, and then after the launch, you never hear about the book no more. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna start showing authors how to get this bag. And so I've come up with so many different ways to leverage your book for profiting, for leverage your book to grow your business, and all of that. And so that's how I became the queen of book profiting. So another thing I want to share, I think that irritates me sometimes on this journey of success is I feel like a lot of times people like to put onto me what they think the full image of what Taria Vision Avant should be. And one of those is they always are like, why you not married? Or why you ain't got no kids? Or when you gonna get some kids? Or when you gonna get married? And the thing I think that I want to share, especially with women right now that are watching, and maybe you're in a position where you're single. I think that the ultimate goal in life should be happiness. And for me, at this space of where I am, when it's all said and done, and when I look around and look at what I've been able to do, ultimately I'm happy. I don't think we should determine the actions that we take based on the ideas and the projections of other people. And I wish that certain people would actually stop doing it, but I know they do it because they in a way care, but I feel like sometimes it's judgmental. And so for me, I get it all the time, and who knows, by the time you watch this, a girl might be married. But at the point of recording this, you must understand that in order to fully live the life that you deserve, whether it be married or be single, you ultimately have to be chasing the happiness. Like, you gotta chase being happy. And so, yeah, I just think for anybody that is watching this, and maybe you're in a position, my question to you is, what makes you happy? And don't worry about what other people try to tell you what's supposed to make you. What makes you happy? And do that to your fullest. All right?
So I want to talk to the person that's doubting yourself, doubting your own worth, doubting what you have to contribute to this life and to society. And what I have to say to you is this. First of all, you are here for a reason. You're alive today for a reason. You're taking air into your lungs for a reason. So I need you to consider that. Secondly, I want you to understand that you deserve goodness and you deserve to live a great and grand life. And third, let me also tell you this. This will come with you understanding what you need to do for yourself in order to make sure that you can move forward. So this is what I'm going to say. Right now, it's not going to be about what happens outside that changes your very dynamic, but it's going to be what you tell yourself inside. So this is what I want to encourage you to do. Start imagining your day and start making sure that you're providing your own self-talk. Your self-talk is what's going to be what defines you moving forward. And I'm going to encourage you to make sure you're telling yourself every day, look yourself square in the mirror and tell yourself how dynamic you are. Tell yourself how phenomenal you are. Whatever it is that you are attempting to do, wherever it is that you want to go, see yourself doing it, see yourself going there, and then every day you're looking at yourself, tell yourself, I'm capable. Tell yourself I'm qualified. Tell yourself that I can do this, no matter the obstacle, no matter what gets in my way. I can, I will, and I must.
Every single day, I think there's something that's gonna challenge you. And for me, it's no different. Black Speakers Network, I started the organization in 2016. So been doing this a few years. I transitioned from my full-time job. I worked for a staffing and recruiting company for 11 years. And so I didn't know anything else really outside of those doors professionally. And so when I decided to make the transition to grow the company full-time, a lot of people refer to that as taking the leap. And for me, it was not so much of a leap, it was more of a transition because I was already growing, we already were making money, but you know, you've heard the conventional wisdom of what it takes to actually leave your job, and for a lot of people, it could be pretty scary, but you hear all the traditional advice. You want to have 6 months expenses in the bank, you want to make sure you have your health insurance, you know, taken care of. You want to make sure that you pay down your debts, and all that's great advice. But for me, I didn't do any of that. So when you talk about taking a leap, it was pretty much a strategic choice. And I really thought, you know, those first couple of months coming out of that, I thought I was going to fail. I thought there was times where, you know, not only was my car potentially going to be like repossessed in the middle of the night, but, you know, not exactly sure how I was going to pay rent. And so the interesting thing is that when you are forced into a position where you have to, not just you want to, but when you have to take action, when your back is against the wall, something magical happens and you figure out a way. Fast forward to the day, you know, never had my car repossessed, you know, never missed a rent payment, you know, never went hungry. Things actually work out.
I want to tell you a story about my first flight. The first time I was on an airplane. I was entering the 9th grade. It was a summer. I spent the summer down in Jackson, South Carolina with my family, and it was time to come back home to Baltimore. Back then, it was a little different. You could send kids on a flight without by themselves, and you could walk all the way up to the gate, see them off. You could be at the gate when they landed and be right there for them. Now it's a totally different time. But back then, 9th grader, first time on the airline, I was excited, right? So I get on my seat, and it was raining that day. I remember it was raining. It was, you know, just cloudy. It was dark. It was raining all over the place. I'm like, okay, well, hey, this is what it is. But we get on the plane, and the plane takes off. We speed down the runway, and we start ascending. And we get to a certain point, we start breaking through the clouds, right? We start breaking through the clouds, and we get above the clouds, and the sun was shining. And I was like, oh my goodness, it had never registered to my 9th grade brain that the sun would still be shining when it was raining. And that thing stuck with me forever, and I realized that, the sun gonna do what it do. The sun is always shining. So even when it's raining on the ground, even when it's snowing on the ground, even when it's nighttime on the ground, the sun still shines because it's the sun, and the sun does what it does. It knows nothing else to do but to shine. And that's what that thing stuck with me. Like, when we go through life, we let storms stop us from being us. We let hardship stop us from being us. We let any obstacle that's coming against us stop us in our tracks, and we just stop being dope. We stop being the great person that we are. We stop going after our dreams. But you've got to be like the sun, because you are a sun. You got to just shine no matter what. You got to continue to shine. Let your light shine in the darkness. Let your light shine in every storm. No matter what comes against you, you continue to shine. Know that you are a sun. Know that you're just going to do what you do and go out there and get it done, because no matter what obstacle comes your way, there's always light at the end, right? You just got to get a little higher. You just got to get above that storm. You got to get above that bad weather. You got to get above that loss, above that obstacle, and just keep shining. That's what makes you dope, because you are a sun and you're going to always keep shining. So I want to encourage you to tap into that. Find that, someone is taking your shine, it's time to get it back. Reclaim your shine. I'm reclaiming my shine. Shout out to Auntie Maxine. But you got to go out there and just be dope at being you by knowing that you are always there to shine. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have hardships. You're going to lose. But you got to understand that you are the sun. And even in the midst of all of that, when you shine, people are going to look at you and like, how are you doing that? How are you still smiling? How are you still going on? How have you not lost your mind after all you've been through? Because I'm a sun and I shine. That's what I do.
For those that may be watching that's trying to figure out, well, what's my inner dopeness? What makes me dope? Let me tell you. You were born dope, first of all. But you need to look in the mirror and look at yourself and think about, what do you love to do? What can you do with your eyes closed? What makes you unique? So what I want to tell you to do, take time to look into yourself, with yourself, by yourself, and then you'll find your inner dopeness, and we'll see it too.
To those people out there that are going to watch this, I want you to know that you're special. You're created special. You are born with dopeness inside of you. You are unique, and it's this type of platform and this type of conversation that's going to help you bring out your dopeness. You were created to walk in the accordance of what you were called to be. And so I want people to know that in spite of everything else, you're dope. You're awesome. You're great. You have greatness inside of you, but you have to master that greatness inside of you. And it starts with self. And it starts with you checking yourself, analyzing yourself, and then saying, look, I'm the master of myself. The dopeness is inside of me. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to be unique. I'm going to walk in the ways that I should walk. And I just want you to know that you were born to be dope. There's nobody else like you. There's nobody else created like you. You are you. And just remember, you're dope.
My journey was, I firmly believe that one of the benefits of me being so different, because I can look at all the differences, right? And I did a talk once. I did a little TED talk once, and I talked about all the things that make us individuals. And for me, my individuality is most obvious in my blackness. My individuality may be second most obvious in my gayness. But what also makes me individual is that I'm also left-handed. I'm one of 10% of the population that's left-handed. So you grow up in this world where I always have felt like I had to make my own way. I had to find the desk that worked for me. I had to find the pen that worked. Little things like that, right? So even in little spaces, I had to figure out how to navigate the world and move normally, because it's not how my brain is actually wired. And when you start to realize that, oh, my brain is wired differently, I'm okay with who I am, you can begin to actually move through these journeys. And so I always joke that it wasn't until I got to Hampton that I actually saw a left-handed desk. And small things like that, to someone like me, 90% of the world didn't matter. that there were left-handed desks at Hampton. But for those of us who are left-handed, it's a small signal that, oh, you see me. You know I'm here, and you are waiting for me to come. And the idea that, and getting excited about the idea that I can walk into a class and sit in a way that best suits my learning style, right? Those little symbols or tokens are ways in which you start to realize that, oh, because someone is thinking of me, it means that maybe I do belong here. I used to say when I first started working at BT that I worked at a black college. And I will say the thing I've learned about working back now at a lot of things that are similar about a black college is that I get to see this expansiveness inside of a minority group. Even though BET is owned by Viacom CBS, we are majority black run. So it's still a black run organization. And what I've learned in that experience is that I've gotten something that I didn't get at Hampton and I didn't get in my LGBTQ journey. What I've gotten at BET is an interesting sense of working with very successful and privileged black men who have poured into me in a way that I hadn't been poured into previously. And it's continuing to further help me understand the idea of how I show up, what room I can be in. Because now these black men who I've met now, and most of them are what I call my bosses. my bosses are men who accept me, push me, motivate me, propel me up with everything because of everything that I am, not in spite of that. And I think previously in points in my career, it was like, well, you can come into this space to be the only black person, and we're checking a box of having a diverse hire, but I'm not really invited into the culture. Or, oh, well, Tyel, you're a different kind of gay guy. You're not like the others, so you can be in this straight space with us. But now I'm learning at this age and with experiences, especially the experiences that my bosses have, it allowed these black men to ask me to bring all that into the room because they realize at their age that it's all those things that make you dope, not just any one specific piece.
Man, it was interesting because it happened, it was almost a two-part thing. I think number one, I'm from Springfield, Illinois, considered small town in a sense, but I'm an only child. And I think, didn't have the money, but the attention. I got the floor when I went to the family cookouts, had me do impressions and do this and do that. So my family made me believe that I was, funny or whatever. But I think the official dopeness factor happened when I went to vocational school my senior year in radio television, right? And I think being from Springfield, which is downstate, you have, it was a statewide competition. And so Chicago's in it, and Chicago's the monster. And I got in this contest for media, and I got second place. So I got second place in the state. And I think that was the beginning of my dopeness, because I think it made me understand that I could compete. If you can compete with Chicago, you can compete with anyone, right? And I think it really confirmed my dopeness, because I think I always felt I was dope because of the only child thing, and because I did the announcements in school, and I did this and I did that. But that was the first, I think that's confirmed it for me and gave me the confidence to succeed. And I think no matter where I worked, no matter where I was, from St. Louis to New York, I think I always felt like, you know what? I'm probably going to be just as good as anybody else is doing what I'm doing, And I think that's important. That feeling's important. It's interesting. I think the first step to dopeness is knowing who you are, When I was in grade school, when it came to the things I wanted to do, which was be a football star and be an athlete, I happened to go to the school where all the great athletes went. And so I never got picked. I didn't make the team. I made the team in football because I was big. Big Mac, they called me. But basketball was a no-go. Then busing started. And I became a superstar when I got bused to that new school. So the part about life that I think is the great part about life is that being honest with yourself is the beginning of making progress. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. But also understand that whatever you believe in, the universe, God, Allah, you have everything within you to be everything that you want to be. A lot of times I think we look outside, we're trying to figure, I gotta do this, no, it starts with you. Who am I? And then what am I good at? And then if I'm not good at something that I wanna be good at, it's hard work and it's practice. And now you have all this information. You can go on YouTube, you can Google people who are doing what you want to do, you can watch people who are doing what you want to do and see their techniques. There really is no excuse because information's all there now. And then that's just hard work. And hard work, and then knowing what you want to do, that combination is going to get you to that place of dopeness that you want to arrive to.
So I'm looking directly at a group full of champions. And I smile when I say that, right? Because I don't believe that God puts me in front of people by accident. I believe I'm talking to a room full of champions. And so I want to talk about how you can be unapologetically you in this coming season, right? One of the keys to being unapologetically who you are is to own your God-given gifts and talents. Now, what do I mean? When I say own your God-given gifts and talents, that means that, man, you know exactly who you are, you know whose you are, and you know what's sitting on the inside of you that you can pull out to have dynamic success in any arena that you go after. So what's your God-given gift and talent? What's your expertise? What's the thing that's designed to help take you to the next level? If you look at any super successful individual, they not only got an award-winning smile because they blessed and highly favored, but they know how to use their gift and talent to create a reality that most people only dream of. My gift is communication, my gift is creativity, and my gift is fast implementation, a fast learning curve. The question I got for you in this season is, what's your gift? What you don't use, we typically lose. It's time to stop trading our gift for less than its true value and to demand what it's actually worth.
You know, we couldn't do a hip hop inspired project without talking about the music. And you'll hear other presenters here who will talk about their songs. And for me, the songs that really cemented my belief that I was born to be dope. Started with someone like LL Cool J, I'm Bad. You know, watching that video premiere on Friday night videos. Y'all remember Friday night videos? Like, we watched, for those who didn't have cable, we had to wait till Friday night to watch videos, and watching I'm Bad premiere on there, and just like, wow, who is this young guy who looks like me? Well, I mean, I don't mean looks like me, but he's black, you know what I mean? I wish I did look like LL. Anyway, sorry. Guy who looks like me and wants to like tell everybody I'm bad, you know? Or Public Enemy and Chuck D, and just the audacity to have the power and the fortitude to say the things he said, to really demand that we be treated as humans as black people, you know? So that really always stuck with me. NWA who stuck with me. But really it was, if I had to pick one song that really instilled in me and helped me cement the fact that I was born to be dope, and that this hip hop thing was, you know, something I was down with, it was De La Soul, Me, Myself, and I. You know, and I think about them, you know, it's that song, what it means, that it's all about you, you know, you be you unapologetically. I mean, they came out, it was a Daisy move. One time I talking about no daisies when De La Soul came out, right? You know, but you think about lines in the song where you're talking about I'm proud of what I am. When Q-Tip said black, it's black, you know, it's like those kind of things that helped me realize that, you know what, I'm dope, I'm black, and that's dope. And that's what, you know, really has always stuck with me, why I love that song. I mean, back then songs had, you know, meanings, they had a message. I mean, we literally had a song called The Message, right? So, I mean, the music itself was what really instilled in us that power of just being black. And then we had fun too. I mean, you know, we can still have fun. We still had songs that were fun. You know, I'm not, you know, out here, you know, protesting and being militant brother all the time. Like, I like to have fun and, you know, get fun. Sometimes too, but I don't know what song that was in my head. It just kind of moved me. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track. But listen, I want to thank you all, you know, for participating in this project and watching it and doing it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Go to I Am Born to Be Dope on Instagram. Shout us out. Let us know your comments. Let us know you saw it. You know, and just, you know, share it with other people. If you didn't get to the summit, you can do that. Go to www.borntobedope.com. You can find out information about the next summit, the next video, the next film, all the things we're doing, the show that's coming out as well. And if you've watched this and you thought, hey, I want to do that, I'm Born to Be Dope, I want to be in the next Born to Be Dope, then definitely go to borntobedope.com for information on how you can be part of the next Born to Be Dope visual mixtape. I'm Ryan C. Greene, founder of Greenhouse Media, creator of this dope project, if I do say so myself. So I want to thank you all for your participation. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for just taking this ride with us, enjoying this first visual mixtape that we put together. We got so much more in store, so many things we want to do for the next one, and the next one, and the next one. But I want to leave you with this, no matter what, always remember your greatness is in you being you. So go out there, be unapologetic about being yourself, and always remember, you were born to be dope.
So I have a young daughter, Giselle, who looks up to me and is truly the apple of my eye. I don't call her my mini-me because I'm enjoying the person that she is becoming, and she is certainly writing her own script even as a young girl. But the song that inspires me most reminds me so much of her, and that's Brown Skin Girl by Beyonce and her daughter, Blue Ivy, because it says, brown skin girl, skin just like pearls, the best thing in the world. I never hold you from anyone else, or something to that effect. And it's just such an empowering song because I've watched my daughter and even her friends sing the lyrics to that song, bounce around and dance like the world is their oyster. And that's the kind of experience that I had growing up, and that I would hope to instill in my daughter and the generations after her, that no matter what the world may say about them, they are uniquely and beautifully made, and they can accomplish anything they want.
Sorry, not sorry. Don't mind me. I'm just living my dreams, and that's the hook. And I think when we think about born to be dope, and as I think about my own life, that's pretty much a mantra that stays in my head. Like, sorry, not sorry. Like, you have to make certain decisions. We all know that entrepreneurship is inherently a lonely journey. Not everybody, most people, myself included, we're first generation in our family who have even had the audacity or even the opportunity to be able to pursue something on the level that we're doing. So yeah, sorry, not sorry. I may not be able to come to every event. I may not be able to participate in things that everybody else is doing, but at the end of the day, I'm going to feel confident about knowing that I'm making the right choices, or attempting to make the right choices that only I can make to move the needle for the things that matter most to me. And so Nas, Jay-Z, that Sorry Not Sorry, that song is fire. Like, I highly recommend it, and even the video, because part of I think the subliminal message within that is that, hey, we're looking back to the past generation and letting them know that, hey, we went down this path and we expected you to be able to do the same thing. Nas even says it in that song, we need more of us, and I think that's true. Everything that they've done, we can now build upon the shoulders of that. And so that is my number one jam. I keep that thing on repeat. On my, I actually have an entrepreneurship kind of playlist. So there's a lot of T.I. in there, there's a lot of Ludacris in there, there's a lot of Jeezy in there, but that's one that definitely hits home every single time.
So the hip hop song that really stirs me up and gets me pumped up is actually by Nicki Minaj, Moment for Life. And there's this line that she says right in the first verse. She says, I believe life is a prize, but to live doesn't mean you're alive. That gives me goosebumps every time I say it, because it is a reminder, as humans, sometimes we take this thing called life for granted. You woke up this morning. That means you have something to do that is bigger than just you. That means you have a calling on your life and a legacy to create. Like, it means your fingerprint matters in the world. So for as long as you have life and breath in your body, the question becomes, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to make it count? And when she says, just because you live doesn't mean you're alive, is a reminder, don't just exist in life, live it to its fullest. How do we live life to its fullest? By finding the thing that sets our soul on fire. The thing where you don't need an alarm clock. Like, you just wake up. You're not hitting snooze 15 times like I used to do when I worked a corporate job. Now, I wake up to the smell of passion and purpose, to being able to touch other people's lives, to being able to inspire other women to create a life that they're in love with. And that's what I want you to search for. The thing that makes you feel like, man, this is a life I'm absolutely in love with.
Think back to growing up and listening to UGK, and again, I'm not sure if it was, I think it was Bun B, but in part of the song, he was saying, I'm up early, because ain't enough light in the daytime. I'm up early because ain't enough light in the daytime. You got 24 hours in the day, and that's all we get, right? And so at an early age, I began to recognize that it was truly about the early bird that gets the worm. Maybe Bun B or UGK figured out another way to say it. But again, the context holds true. Getting there first, getting up early, getting to the day faster. Getting there before everyone else so you can get things done, so you can focus. Because I recognize that oftentimes the early bird is the one that can get there and truly focus. And it is that focus that helps us get to the next level because we're undistracted, we're undisturbed. So even me today, I'm up early because ain't enough light in the daytime. I get up earlier than my family to pray and to meditate and to read. Why? So I can focus, so I can see my day before my day even happens. And oftentimes, because I know we create our days, I'm already living in my day from yesterday. So really what I'm doing is I'm creating my tomorrow.
When I think about a hip-hop song that really resonates with me, it is Lauryn Hill's Everything is Everything. And if you've seen the video, it starts with a record playing on a turntable, which is very symbolic of our lives. We really work in a continuous spinning season after season. She says after winter must come spring, and it always does. And for me, I always felt like I was working on something that would happen eventually. Eventually I'd get promoted. Eventually I would have all of my dreams and aspirations fulfilled. But what she also says is that, everything is everything. But for me, I thought about as I'm spinning and spinning, only I can make a change. The seasons will always come, but I need to be in control of what changes when that season comes. So I really think about my life and making sure that, again, I'm in control of what I'm doing. I'm controlling the spinning of that turntable, and I know when I get to the end of the record, that my life has been complete.
I'm from North New Jersey, that's right. Brick City, we're doing this, we're dope because hip-hop is the foundation of a lot of things. It's definitely a foundation for me. And I'll just tell you this one song that helped me out a lot, and it helps me even today. U-N-I-T-Y. Y'all know the queen, U-N-I-T-Y. That's right. That song, hey, hey, hey. That's the song that gets me going because we have to have unity. And it's all about unity within the community. There's nothing you can do by yourself. Yeah, I'm dope, but I can't do it alone. I think about Oprah Winfrey. I think about Tyler Perry. Those names that we know that stand out, and we say, wow, they are dope. They're doing the doggone thing. Wow, they're on the Forbes list. They're millionaires. They're on the billionaire list. You know what? They couldn't do it alone. They had to have a unity within the community. They had to develop certain people around them that trusted and believed in the vision.
Jay-Z's PSA, the lyric says, man, you was who you was before you got here. And I interpret that as you were great before you got here. And so remember who you are. That motivates me because I think as somebody who has really lived my life and lived my dreams, I try to share that with young people and old people. But so many people have been beaten down that they don't remember who they were because some people maybe never knew. And so that's why I like that lyric so much. Man, you was who you was before you got here. You know what I'm saying? You are a reflection of God. You are made in his or her image. So, if Jesus was that, then you and Jesus have that in common. So that's the kind of motivation. So that's why that lyric really stands out for me.
W Fresh, keep rising to the top. That song just kind of propelled me because it always played in the back of my head. It's kind of like a mantra, right? Ain't no half-stepping. Keep rising to the top and give it all you've got. And so that's been the rhyme that has been in the back of my mind, that has walked with me, that has moved with me, and keeps me on the path that I'm on right now. I'm never satisfied, which is why I'm always doing multiple things, and I always have and always will. But through everything I do, I'm going to keep rising to the top because each and every day, I'm giving it all that I got.
The Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z, remixed with Alicia Keys, is really one of those songs that capture how I feel. Not only is Mr. Z from Brooklyn, New York, just like I am, but the concept, the empire state of mind. It just shows us that, you know, life is unlimited and we really can have whatever we desire. After all, we are made in God's image.
One of my favorite songs is Ain't Nobody Dope Like Me, because I'm so fresh and so clean. And I'm not even talking about the clothes. I'm talking about my gifts and talents. See, oftentimes we live in a society where we're so worried about the competition. But when you really decide to be dope and tap into your true level of dopeness and your highest level of dopeness, guess what? You are the competition to beat. When you walk in the room, you should be able to shift the atmosphere with your dopeness. That's what it's all about, being so fresh and so clean. Tapping into your gifts and talents and knowing that you are the competition to beat and that you can shift the atmosphere by just walking in.
But my favorite song, like if I want to get pumped up, is OT Genesis, Getting to the Money with Beyonce. Now it's got to have the Beyonce blend, because you know you got to have her part when she do the dance. And then what I love so much, because she had did that in Coachella, but y'all know, I think she called it Beachella or something like that, right? She had the band, the marching band, and I used to actually dance in the marching band when I was in college. So like, I play that all the time. That's my jam.
The lyric that I choose that represents how I like to move through life with intentionality is from Mary J. Blige's Be Happy. And Be Happy actually came out when I was in Hampton. And I have been playing that song since then, and I at least play it once a month. And the part of it for me, I knew it was a message for me because of one set of lyrics in the song really resonates with me. And what those lyrics are is, all I really want is to be happy and to find a love that is mine. That would be so sweet. And if I had to wrap my life up into that, the idea is to find that love for me, of myself, that is actually mine. That's what's sweet. And I think that that's the part of life of this journey, is that, as we talked earlier, so much of this life is telling you that you're not enough, that you aren't worthy, and to like re-look inside yourself and authentically find that love inside of all the things that are great and not so great about you. Like, that's what's actually really sweet.
Lottie Dottie by Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick. At that time, this was 1985, it was something new. You know what I'm saying? There was no music behind it. It was a beatbox and a rhyme, and he told a story. And you know, just like any kid back then that, you know, that fell in love with the music and fell in love with the culture and was a part of the culture. When you first heard that song, it was the show, and on the flip side, it was Lottie Dottie. And when you first heard Lottie Dottie, it was like, what is this? What is this? This is dope or fresh. We used to say back in the day, this is fresh, man. So I did a song called It Was a Party. You know, taking that whole skeleton and creating a story, and it was about me going to a party and what happened, you know, in between, from the time I'm getting dressed to the time I'm calling up people, you know what I'm saying, to get to this party, blah, blah, blah. So we had a talent show at my school in Philly, Girard College, and I performed that song at that talent show. And that was the moment. When I did that, the place went absolutely bonkers. I mean, there's no feeling in the world, and I was just talking to a cat on the phone, a DJ out of Virginia by the name of Lonnie B. There's no feeling in the world when you get on stage and you get that kind of energy from the crowd. And so that show at that school, at my school back then, when I got that energy from doing that song, that was the moment I said, oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. I dreamed big like my visions were projected on a movie screen. Beachside staring into watercolor blue screen. Muscle with the hustle, turn my dreams into reality. I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams on a balcony. Scribbling notes into the margin of my composition. For what's next, match my efforts with my ambition. I failed, took steps back, but kept pushing. Reinventing myself, establishing better footing. Fall down 6 times, but stand up 7, even when nobody else could see the places I was heading. I was driven. I had a vision that made a plan. Put it into practice with the actions of my hands. Put it into practice with my circle and my fam. Had my back before I became a businessman. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. My footsteps walk a different path. I did the knowledge, then I did the math. Factored in all of my failures, dream killers and negative talk that assails ya. Insecurities they projected onto me, internalizing the fear had me questioning my journey. I did my light, now I was scared to shine till I realized the baggage on my back wasn't mine. Then I made a conscious decision to fail without fear, study the lessons I was given. Facing setbacks is a given, but my setbacks never redefine my mission. Blessed with the village and blessed with ambition. Took in all the wisdom, it informed my intuition. Made a couple U-turns, but I learned transition is a necessary space to see my dreams come to fruition. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be.
There you have it. There you have it. I am so overwhelmed, excited, but we're about to load up the cast members for our Q&A. So we got some church announcements to make, and we'll be right back to discuss this entire project right after this.
Hey, enjoying yourself at the Born to Be Dope Summit so far? The ticket to watch the Born to Be Dope movie premiere, because I'm sure you're going to love that too. I have a quick question for you though. How would you like to be on stage presenting at the next Born to Be Dope Summit? Or better yet, be featured in the next Born to Be Dope visual mixtape feature film. If you have an empowering and a motivational message that will help people celebrate being unapologetically great at being themselves, or you have the secret to being dope in a particular area of life, then apply now and complete the speaker questionnaire form. We start casting next month for our next Born to Be Dope, and we just may choose you, so don't miss it. Apply now.
Hi, I'm Ryan C. Greene, founder of Indie businesses that attract clients and allow for profitable growth. One of the Beyond the Book strategies we employ is teaching authors how to transform their best-selling books into sold-out life. We specialize in creating captivating and compelling video content and turning that $20 book into a $200 to $2,000 online course. Maybe you're a speaker ready to move beyond the book and start earning what your expertise is truly worth and learn more about the proven course creation system. I want to invite you to our 5-day sold-out Course Creator Challenge, Ending Your Work. Join the next Course Creator Challenge at 5daycoursecreator.com and start profiting from your book like a pro.
If going viral is your only plan to make it big with your media brand, you may be going about this content thing all wrong. One of the most impactful platforms. If you have an idea for a great TV show, podcast, film, or live event, and are looking to reach a global audience and expand your brand's reach, then check this out. Greenhouse Media has partnered with Exposure Network TV and is now streaming content to over 160 homes globally via Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV. Explore all the hoops to monetize your own content while they get rich placing ads in your network. Then bring your content to death row. Nah, I play it. But let's show you how bringing your show to the Exposure Network TV platform through Greenhouse Media can better position you for the distribution, impact, and profit you seek and deserve from your creativity. Let's discuss your project today and see if now is a good time for us to partner. Schedule a discovery call with our producers by texting the word exposure to 614-333-0338. And let's talk about making your media dreams come true. Oh, and go ahead and download the app on your TV and your phone as well while you wait. Hey, enjoying yourself at the Born to Be Dope Summit so far? Hopefully you purchased a ticket to watch the Born to Be Dope movie premiere, because I'm sure you're going to love that too. I have a quick question for you though. how would you like to be on stage presenting at the next Born to Be Dope Summit? Or better yet, be featured in the next Born to Be Dope visual mix.
All right. We are back. We are live. Let me see. There we go. We got some phenomenal cast members here with us. Let me just let everybody take it all in for a second. I'm just like, okay, they say, let me just absorb that, because we talk about the journey and the destination all the time. We don't enjoy the journey. So I just premiered a movie. All right. But I didn't do it by myself. So I'm excited because we have with us Kareem Ellis. We have Curtis Ross. We have Dr. Elizabeth Carter with us to join us for the cast Q&A. How are y'all doing?
Hey, I'm blessed and highly favored as always, man. There is never going to be a complaint coming out of this corner.
Awesome.
Well, I'm doing outstanding. Hopefully my audio is coming in okay, Ryan, but I'm doing outstanding, good brother.
I do hear you. Dr. E, why don't you go give us a sound check too? How did you enjoy it?
I loved it. So excited for you and all that this will bring to you in the future. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So listen, we've got 25, 30 minutes that we're going to share. Just talk to you all the feedback. I was on the live chat and on the YouTube link, so we got a lot of great feedback, a lot of positive stuff. Let's start with you, Curtis. I want to start with you because you were actually technically the second, but it was the first weekend of shooting. Like, you were the first weekend that we actually shot this thing back in August. And so when I came down there to Atlanta, like Salim said earlier, I was traveling all over the country. I won't do that again. I'm letting you know that I already know how we're gonna do that differently. But but I love Atlanta, so I didn't mind coming down there. And I'm sure when we talked, even what we shot, it was a different narrative, right? Like, I had a different idea back then. So things have changed, just even in the middle of filming this thing. So seeing the final product, and knowing what we originally discussed, give me your thoughts, man. What do you think about seeing yourself on the screen in the project, man?
Yeah, well, no, it was definitely an awesome experience. I appreciate your professionalism and, just having some real dope equipment to even redo the initial recording. I knew that it would be a project that would evolve. I didn't know I was one of your first people, though. Honestly, I didn't. I
couldn't tell you then. You'd be nervous. I couldn't tell you
that.
Right. But couldn't tell you.
But now I know. However, but just to see how you did the editing and the flow of the presentation and even where I came in at. I would definitely say for the first project, if that's safe to say, for the first project of this scope, I would say the magnitude for you, definitely an awesome presentation, man. And I'm glad I jumped right on it the moment you put the project out there and didn't hesitate, man. So it was definitely something that's divine for me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Kareem, I'm going to come back to you because our story is what changed the whole dynamic of the project. So let me go to Dr. E. Dr. Elizabeth Carter, your full name for those who are watching, so they can look you up as well. You came down to Maryland from Pittsburgh, and I appreciate you. I was going to come to Pittsburgh, and Dr. Elizabeth was like, no, don't come to Pittsburgh. Don't come to Pittsburgh. I was like, I'll come down. I'm like, all right, I ain't going to tell you don't. But so you came down to the studio and filmed, and you've done some great things. You've been speaking on a lot of stages as well. So give me your thoughts and what you felt about the project.
I loved it when you first announced it, probably right when Curtis came in. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Hip hop, that's so different for me. And when you swung back around again, looking for more people, I say, you know what? God's telling me for a second time, I need to step in. So I leaned in and I thought it was phenomenal. I figured I'd come to you. It was only a 4.5-hour ride, not a big deal. No sense in you dragging all your great equipment. And I came down, loved how you accommodated me. It was a wonderful thing. And it's just so exciting for me to do something different, expand my scope of my work. And I really appreciate your hospitality when I did come.
Awesome. Great. Now, Kareem lives in Cincinnati, Ohio, okay? Where he lives is not really, the important part of the story. But I was going to Cincinnati to see Kareem. Kareem was probably close to one of the latest ones that I filmed. So I'm going to Cincinnati. I'm like, Kareem Ellis is opening for not hosting Les Brown calls. I'm like, I can't tell Kareem to come to Maryland. Let me go out to Cincinnati and see him. So we get there, and there we go. So we get. I'm at the airport, and my wife is coming with me. We're like, look, I've never been to Cincinnati. All I know is the Bengals, and I'm a Ravens fan, so I wasn't even, whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna go to Cincinnati. We're in the airport, in the line, about an hour before boarding, and the flight gets canceled. So I'm like, Kareem, I can't come out there. Like, this was like, COVID, and airline pilots had all boycotted. So I couldn't come out there. I was like, Kareem, we got to totally reinvent how we're going to do this whole entire thing, right? Like I've got all these other interviews I've done, but now we got to do something different virtual with you. And that's how we ended up with, I'm giving y'all behind the scenes. So that's how we ended up with the first scene, where we just kind of made it more of a narrative. So Kareem, and you've been a great, I'm going to call you a friend on this, through this project. And so just tell me, because you've done you've been on all kinds of stages, man, and you rocked it yesterday. So talk to us about your experience being a part of this, and feedback from you.
Well, off the bat, honestly, you already know how I feel. I know you know how I feel about the project. I'm gung ho about anything that helps feed people, especially in the day and the time and the age like this, where so many people need it. I mean, we came out of COVID-19, 2020. Was just a crazy year for a lot of people. A lot of people forgot how to dream and forgot how to dream big. So when you said you were doing this project, and knowing the folks I see on a regular basis, both in the corporate arena and outside the corporate arena, I was 100% gung-ho for it, right? One of my favorite stories in the book of life is Jesus and the parable of the fig tree, right? Jesus is hungry for some figs, looks at the fig tree. There's no figs on the tree. He comes back the next day and sees there's no figs on the tree. So he says, wither and die and never bear fruit again. Why? Because you're not doing the very thing you're designed to do. When you put this project out there, what I saw was a world that needed figs. And what you did is you provided a platform for many of us to get out there and give the world what they needed in a time and a season and a day and an age such as this. So anytime I see a project like this, and you put together the freaking Justice League.
I love it. I love it.
Hitters for this project. So there was no way in the world I was going to let 2022 get past without at least playing a part in what I think is one of the most powerful projects that's going to rock the course of this year and change lives for the better. So for me, it's an honor, it's a privilege, and most importantly, it's a pleasure to rock with you. You, my brother from another mother, and if you need me for anything, brother, you got it. Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you so much. It's funny you talk about the Justice League, because I said at some point during the conference, I was like, I put out my wish list and everybody said yes. Like, I was not expecting everyone to say yes. So it was like, oh, what do I do now? So, we roll with it. I'm not going to tell anybody, oh, never mind. No. We roll with it. So let's bring on, we also have one more cast member who just joined us, Montrella Cowan. How are you, Montrella?
Hello.
Hello. I've got to give you the early feedback I'm receiving. People were touched by your story, touched by your openness and just the vulnerability you showed through sharing your story. So I want to bring you on and let's just talk about your experience. I mean, what did you think about the project and, all this surrounded it?
Yes, and Brian, thank you for your vision on this project. And I thought
Thank
it was
you.
so cool how during the Super Bowl they decided that they want to give hip hop their props. I'm like, Ryan was the first one.
Right.
I really appreciate that, brother. I'm
Thank
from
you.
Brooklyn, New York. And so, there was a time in my life when all I dreamed of doing and being was the latest rap star, like Salt and Pepper.
Wow.
I wanted to be Salt and Pepper. And I never even thought I would leave Brooklyn. But, circumstances had it that I had to move to DC with my father. And here I am, a therapist now. But the project is just dope. I mean, it's the entire definition of it. And I do think, as Kareem was saying, it's needed right now. As a mental health professional, I'm very, every day I'm, talking people out of committing suicide and things like that. So I know, directly that people are on the verge of feeling like there's nothing to live for. And they're forgetting who they are, or they're buying into the lies that, the news is kicking, that we're hopeless, helpless, and, all the destruction and the death. And so to remind people in today's time that you are dope and you have a mission And I can't fulfill your mission, Ryan. You can't fulfill mine. Like we all have a divine purpose. So for me, dope is, that divine one and only, purposely evolving.
I definitely appreciate that. And I remember when we were filming, and if you hope you don't mind me sharing, but when I filmed you, and I remember it was tough getting through that story. Like I had to, because I didn't know your story before you came in. Like I don't practice and like rehearse. I didn't give people. I gave them the questions, but I didn't say, "Hey, we're gonna come in here and practice." Everybody was first take, mostly. But with you, I was like, I knew that there was pain there, and I was like, okay, we got to get this out, because it was like you were kind of giving me a little, and I was like, no, we need to get this out. I could tell people going to need this story, and this is going to touch a lot of people, and we worked through it, and it was even at that moment, I was like, man, this is the strength that you had to share that, and just the being unapologetic. That's what I was telling some people who hit me up about it. Like, it was just the whole thing about being unapologetically you. So, for all of us to share, I didn't know going in what kind of stories we were going to get, how this is going to really touch people, but to be in your authenticity, in your authentic self, and being unapologetic. I think that shine through your story, and through everybody's story. So definitely appreciate that. So listen, we're going to ask some more questions, but for those who are watching, if you want to be in the next Born to be Dope, we are going to do the next one August 4th through 6th, 2022. It's going to be in Maryland. So this time everyone has to fly to me. So, but we're going to do a live event. So it'll be a live tape. It's going to be a live event for the weekend. It's going to be a live taping. We're going to have photo shoots, interviews, podcasts, TV. Did I say TV? Because you saw the ad right before, the Exposure Network TV. This movie is going on Exposure Network TV, where we run the DMV channel. So we've got a lot of things that Greenhouse Media is doing and working on. So if you want to be a part of the next one, if you weren't brave enough, if you had to sit back and watch, let me see if it worked first. You didn't jump on the first one like these leaders did. We ain't gonna judge you. We ain't gonna judge you. I know, whatever. But now you want to get on what Mike Jones say back then. They didn't know me. Now we hot, y'all up on me. So, but we want to do it with love. It's all love, y'all. So definitely be a part of the next one coming up in August. Go to www.borntobedopesummit.com. Click apply to speak, and you will be able to start the process. We're doing auditions in March, so don't miss out. So let me just throw it open to the whole panel. Let me see. What? First of all, tell us how each person to answer the question, and then just give out your contact info so people can follow you as well, and tell us, what's next from Born to be Dope. What is this going to springboard into for you? And it doesn't have to do anything with me. I'm just saying, let the people know how they can get the best from you. Oh, let's just start with Curtis, and then.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So again, thank you. Yeah, I can hear you just fine, right? Can you hear me? Am I coming through okay?
Yes, you are. Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. I just took myself off mute. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity. And as for me, again, from this Born to be Dope Summit and experience, I have officially considered myself having launched my personal development business, my life coaching business. And my goal is to help individuals, identify that dopeness within themselves by helping them be intentional every day, and more importantly, identify the divinity in who they are. So with that, what I'm going to be doing is I'm definitely going to get my first book started, because I captured one of the speakers. I can't remember one of the speakers that helped me truly understand that the book is just another way to help scale my message. So that is a second quarter project that I'll be working on, just simply along with building up clientele and building up more testimonials to that experience, because my goal is to actually personally walk beside people and help them from a coaching perspective, really identify the best of themselves and then bring that to the world. So I'm excited about that, and excited about possibly also working with you and being a part of the next summit.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to be part of the next one.
And they can actually, and And pardon me, but my official website to actually book consultations, because I am doing consultations, no cost, no obligation, but just simply identifying if there is a connection. So my official website is curtisross.com. That's my name, CurtisRoss.com. Wanted to keep it simple. And as far as following me, I'm active on Instagram and Facebook at Curtis Ross 21, at Curtis Ross, CurtisRoss 21, and I'm active there on Facebook and also on IG. And it's mostly just activity in the gym, because I'm big on health, and then a lot of inspiration around mental and spiritual fitness. So I'm excited again to be able to partner with such a great team here on Greenhouse Media, and looking forward to the future.
Awesome, man. And that speaker you referenced, her name is Taria Avant. She is in Atlanta as well, and she's a Hamptonian. So I'll make sure I make the connection for y'all so you can get that started with your book, Kurt. All right, so let's go ahead over to Montrella.
Thank you.
What's next? This journey just goes and goes until it doesn't. And, on the strength of three people. One being my mama, who, she did struggle with crack cocaine addiction for 30 years, but had given that up and was clean before her passing in 2018. My mom was a Pisces, just like I am. My mom lived life to the fullest. So, off the strength of my mama, bless her soul, I must carry on. The second person is my daughter, China, who, as you heard in the film, I also lost to lupus in 2018. Yep, just 4 months after my mom's passing, I was putting my daughter to rest. And China, she was just amazing. She did so many things. She purchased a home. She was a mother. She ran track. She was a dancer. She did so many things. So for her, it's just full self-expression that I must carry on in her name, and for my son who's just turned 18. And then the last person is Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
Bob Proctor was my mentor, and he just passed away on February the 4th. And if I'm talking about an example of someone who woke up every single day to give their lives to people, to positively impact people, it was Bob Proctor. And in fact, when my daughter transitioned, I went to Bob Proctor's conference and we took a photo together. He had no idea I was grieving the loss of my daughter, but to leave the craziness behind, I was under his teachings, and it really helped me through that grieving process. So, all three of them, I am here to make a positive difference. My goal is to impact 1 million lives. I want to stop people like Miss USA from jumping off out of off a building, and Ian King Jr., who committed suicide 2 days after his 26th birthday. I need to help people wake up, step into their greatness, and that's my mission. I'm on it.
Awesome. We're on it. So tell people, drop your website, how people can contact you as well.
Thank you. So, to get more amazing tools for free, resources, I talk about mental health. I know there's still a stigma, but listen, we got to get past that, because
That's right.
it's George Fraser, another one of my mentors, who says, don't be a prisoner of your past. We've been a prisoner of our past way too long. And that's the difference between life coaching and therapy. Therapy is going to help you to complete your past. You can hit me up at affinity411.com. That's my website, Affinity, AFFINITY 411.com, and log on to get connected to the free information and resources related to mental health and how to get through those difficult relationships and conversations and all the good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Montrella. Let's go to Dr. Elizabeth. What's next? Where can people catch up with you and make sure they jump onto jump into your tribe?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. My story for both my live and my pre-recorded really spoke to imposter syndrome. And while my focus is mainly people who work in corporate, imposter syndrome is everywhere, whether you're an entrepreneur, working in nonprofit, government. So my messaging is universal, while I'm really trying to shepherd more minorities into leadership in corporate, because corporations need to understand our voice. If they're trying to sell to consumers, we are 13% of the population, African Americans. If you don't have people in the right roles to let them know what we need, then they can't sell their products. So my main mission is really helping shepherd more leaders into upper leadership in organizations. And I have a program called Elevate Your Value, because the problem that we have, because we have this imposter syndrome problem, we have a fear of failure. We are worried about what other people think. We're worried about what the corporation will do to us because we come to work looking different, talking different. And I really want to be able to help people be, their own unique self and add value. So that's what I'm really working on, and I've been doing that. And I keep my corporate job to ensure that I am helping corporations do, as I just mentioned, do the right thing for our people. And it also gives me information to share with my clients, with my company Appeal, who are struggling, trying to understand how to maneuver those, I'll call it cultural politics, that many corporations have, who are still not ready to embrace us into their boardrooms and into their leadership teams. So how people can find me is I have a website. It is www.eac, that's my initials, dash appeal. That's two A's, two P's, EAL.com. I am also on Facebook and Instagram, and it's all one word, EACAAPPEAL. If you just type in Dr. E, career coach, I also show up that way on Instagram. And again, I'm really looking forward to getting my message out there. I'll take clips from these videos and snip them out, and they become pretty much social media and advertising promotional posts. So I thank you so much, Ryan, for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us as well. And Greene, we're going to send it over to you. What is next? I understand like every other day you speaking in front of a couple hundred people. So what is next for you, my brother?
Well, there's a lot on the plate right now. What I want to say before I jump into that, and this is just a reminder to everyone who's watching the Q&A, I keep this on my office desk at home. It's a treasure chest, right? And locked inside this treasure chest is nothing but a seed, right? Nothing but a bunch of different seeds inside of there. It's a reminder that everyone has greatness, or as you would say, dopeness locked inside of them, right? But in order to get that dopeness out, we got to remember to plant our seed. The job of a seed is to produce fruit or a harvest. So this is a reminder for everyone who sat through the last 3 days and got inspired and motivated. The next thing you do is plant your seed, right? Go out there, plant the seed, whatever it is, gift, talent, expertise, that goal, that dream, go be dope. And remember, the fruit is what you share with the rest of the world. I've never seen an apple tree bend down and eat its own apples. The apples are there to share with the rest of the world who comes by and needs that nourishment. Now, on my end, because I'm in a season where God has me planting a lot of seed and harvesting a lot of fruit. Obviously, I'm booked with the speaking stuff. So right now, I'm booked out to probably about June at this point in time, which is always a blessing. So for those out there that want to catch me speaking live, just jump on my social media. Jump on either my Instagram, Kareem Ellis1, KARIMELLIS, the number 1 after it. I'm always posting stuff on social media or my Facebook page as well. I'm always updating folks, letting folks know what's going on with me in the speaking atmosphere. Number 2, if you want to connect with me on the Les Brown Monday Night Motivational Show, just send a text message to the word, send the word GPS 2020. GPS 2020 to the number 484848. We'll get you locked in so you get updates about when the show takes off. It's 8 o'clock every night Eastern time. We'll get you plugged in. And then the other project we're working on is we're working on the follow-up to this beauty here, GPS My Success, the follow-up sequel to this book. And I'm calling this sequel called Empowered to Drive, What Gear You In? That's set to release around July of this year. So we're ready to rock out with that project as well. And then for folks that are in the coaching space, the need to go to the next level, 2 different coaching programs, both based off my best-selling book on Amazon, GPS, My Speaking Success. I have 16 plus years of speaking experience on both corporate and seminar stages. So for folks who want to go to the next level, connect with me again. Send an email to coachme@KareemEllis.com. I'll take a look at your message, your brand, and see what needs to be done to take it to the next level. And for folks to say, man, I'm just stuck. I don't know what to do with my life. I got a goal, I got a dream, but I'm not sure how to get there. I have my GPS Success breakthrough program. They call me the number 1 breakthrough strategist for a reason. My job is to help you identify where you're trying to get to by putting the address in your life GPS and helping you navigate one-on-one to get to your fantastic finish line. So that's what we got in a nutshell, man. God has me rocking and rolling. We're planting a lot of seed, and the goal is to come out and produce a lot of harvest. And with God's grace, I plan to be around, obviously, for project number 2 with you, my brother.
Absolutely. Listen, I want to thank you all for being part of the project, being part of the summit. being here today, and especially because I know some of you, like when y'all were like, I thought it was just a movie. What is all this summit talk? So some of you just rolled with me. Whatever came up, y'all just rolled with me. So I appreciate you for helping make my dream come true. Like I don't take that lightly. Like we can't, we need each other to make our dreams come true. So I thank you all for that. Can't wait to work with you all again. So thank y'all. All right. So we are going to close out. This has been a wonderful weekend. I'll tell you, when I tell you I'm full of, just overwhelmed, overjoyed, I mean that thing. I'll sit back and, I guess take it all in a couple of days of what really just happened. But I just want to thank you all for being part of the Born to Be Dope Summit, the film release weekend, all those who told somebody about it, registered for the event, didn't cuss me out when we had technical issues, just everything. And those who are going to tell other people about this. If you like this, if it meant something to you, if you saw this being empowered, some way of empowering you, post about it, please. Tell your email list about it, please. Just send them to borntobedope.com, borntobedope.com, because after this, there's a TV show and podcast coming. There's like I said, we're going to do the summit again, another film. So the audio book is still coming. So we still have this brand is just getting off the ground. So we want to make sure that everyone knows about it. Like, you have the power to tell, what goes on your social media. I think I said that the other day. You control what goes in your social media. You control what goes out in your emails. So you go out and send that stuff and just promote this brand for us. And we appreciate that. So last thing I'll say is this. The whole point about this project, the whole point about this mission and being unapologetically great at being you is because I know that so many times we live a life trying to fit into a box, trying to fit into what somebody else says, or trying to be comfortable, right? We live our life just trying to be comfortable until that one day that we're uncomfortable, right? And now we're all those years of comfort, and it just takes one decision, one bad boss, one person who doesn't like you, one bad post, that all that comfort you spent your life building turns into uncomfort. I'm going to challenge you, just like everyone in this weekend challenge you, to be a little uncomfortable. Start living a little uncomfortable now so that you can then be more comfortable in the future. That's what Born to Be Dope is about. Use that. Be unapologetically great at being you. There's something in you that makes you special. There's something in you that makes you dope, that is going to be your secret sauce. And again, this whole thing is about mastering, magnifying, and monetizing your dopeness so that you can go out there and have maximum success and impact in the world. So I want to thank you all. My name is Ryan C. Greene. Maybe I should probably tell you how to contact me. RyanCGreene.com. That's Greene with an E. You can contact me or go to borntobedope.com. You contact me there as well. I'm available for speaking engagements, interviews, all that kind of stuff as well. Again, the 5-day Course Creator Challenge is starting on March 21st. Go to 5daycoursecreator.com to be part of that. And I think that is it. I will see you all at the next Born to Be Dope. I'm out. Remember, you were born to be dope.